Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, November 24th, 2025, and here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. All right, it's a wild Monday. We have a lot to dissect that developed this weekend. A lot to dissect from this weekend. And then there's a lot to dissect that's happened today. And I anticipate there'll be even more to dissect before we sign off for today. There's going to be breaking news, I would imagine. Could happen any moment now. That's how crazy the political world is. So we're going to try to make sense of all of it. So this weekend, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene essentially retiring from Congress. We'll give you a brief update on that. I won't go too far back to spend too much time on that, but there were some developments recently, some new comments from Marjorie Taylor Greene, even President Trump over the weekend. So we'll kind of add all of that up and tell you what you need to know about that. But it's odd, as Trump is also attacking Rand Paul and Thomas Massie today. He then comes out and says that the GOP has never been more united. Okay, so you just scared Marjorie Taylor Greene out of politics, and you're trying to do the same to Rand Paul and to Thomas Massie, but the GOP's never been more united. Now, it's ironic that he would say that, but I guess it means something else, doesn't it? I guess that means something else entirely. What is it that they're so united on? And if you're not united on that, then you're out. We want nothing to do with you. Get out. What is that one issue? Do I even have to say it, or is it that obvious? Yeah, it's that obvious. And that's how bad it really is. All right. Remember the James Comey, Letitia James case that I've been warning about for 2 weeks was about to get spiked? By the way, was anyone else in media addressing this besides me? Was anyone else in media, specifically the right-wing media, with anybody that has a history of supporting President Trump, was anyone else warning that the Comey-James case was about to get spiked? Well, I actually have the answer for you. And I'll give that to you when we cover that story coming up today. The Comey-James case could be done for good, folks. Could be done for good. That's how important this was, and they blew it. Oh, and now they're talking about Pam Bondi. More snap fraud, including in Minnesota, where apparently the Somalis have figured it out. I don't know what the Somali average IQ is. I don't think it's too high. I don't think it's too big of a number. But yet somehow they've figured out how to rig SNAP benefits and make millions of dollars off of fraud in SNAP. And then we're going to hear from even Agriculture Secretary Rollins has a major update on this. It's crazy. We got some other legal updates, some other legal stories we're going to be bringing to you too. Hey, this back and forth. Mamdani back in the news cycle today. You had Caroline Leavitt just talking about Mamdani a moment ago. It's all funny to me, folks. Trump said, look, when you actually follow the news and you actually try to apply things with equal logic and fairness and have an ability for neutral observing and reporting, then you tip your cap because Trump is honest. But then when you give honest criticism or honest takes about what Trump said, then people come for you. Why are all these people mad at Mamdani? Did you not hear what Trump said at the White House last week about the fascist comment? Did you guys listen to what President Trump... I mean, you guys are in the Trump cult. You think that you would be listening to everything Trump says, and then you come out and you make it all about Mamdani again. Did you even hear what Trump said last week? It's like you guys don't even listen. That's not a very good cult, by the way. You should be listening to your cult leaders. So if you're not going to listen to what Trump says, then don't be surprised when the people that criticize Trump end up being right and you end up being wrong. All right, we're getting a little personal here. Let's go to the geopolitical stack. News out of Israel, Lebanon, Ukraine, Nigeria. Yeah, all of that. All of that coming up and more on today's Owen Report.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
Well, folks, it's a Monday. It's a Monday, and sometimes that means maybe you're a little slower getting out of bed. Maybe you're a little slower trying to get to work. And it's even worse here in Austin today. It's dreary. It's dreary. It's cloudy. There's no sun. It's rainy. It's foggy. The temperature is not where we like it to be here in Texas. And so it's days like these where I need a little extra. And so I'm about 10 minutes before the show, and I'm just dying here. As you can see, I'm going for my coffee right now. Thank you, Blackout Coffee. Thank you. So it's about 10 minutes to the show, and I'm just dying. I'm just like, I need something. I need it, and I need it instantly. I need premium instant coffee. That's what I needed. And so I went to the best source. I went to blackoutcoffee.com/Owen, where you can get premium instant coffee right now, 20% off with coupon code Owen at checkout on your first order. And in fact, they have an updated thing on their site right now that will tell you if you order it today, when you'll have it by. So that's really nice. So especially when the Christmas time gets a little closer, you can make sure that you're ordering your coffee gifts on time so that they can arrive for Christmas. Yes, it's that time of year, folks. We may have some Black Friday sales updates for you, but right now, 20% off, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen, coupon code Owen at checkout, 20% off your first order, premium instant coffee. As if the instant coffee wasn't enough. Like I said, 10 minutes before the show, there's only one thing. That's instant coffee. That's it. I can't sit around. I don't have time to wait for a brew. I gotta get it, and I gotta get it instantly. But premium, it has to be premium. I only like the good stuff. Premium instant coffee, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. 10 minutes up against the buzzer, 5 minutes even, 2 minutes. Whatever you need, whatever the time window is. Premium instant coffee from blackoutcoffee.com. Won't let you down. No wait. Instant coffee when you need it for your Monday. Maybe the most important day for your coffee is that Monday morning. Get your source, blackoutcoffee.com/Owen.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Oh, what's that? What's that headline on Drudge today? Let's make sure you can see that. Bondi blows it. Bondi blows it. James Comey and Letitia James cases dismissed. I don't drink this coffee in jest. I don't drink this to say, I hate to say I told you so. But it does kind of feel that way, doesn't it? It does kind of feel like I'm the living meme right now. Actually, I guess I would have to face it this way, wouldn't I? Yeah. Oh, Bondi blew it? Oh, the Comey and James cases have been dismissed? Oh, golly gee, who told you that was coming? Oh, golly gee, Man, if only somebody was warning. If only somebody could have seen it coming. No, here we are. Saw it from a mile away. Now, we're going to probably circle back to this at some time once we start to get into the stack. But it's like, how do I quantify this? As we're all, maybe it's not all, but many of us are seeing the same thing right now, which is we seem to be back in the Bush years. I don't know how else to say it. We seem to be back in the Bush years, or maybe even the Obama years to an extent, when it comes to GOP politics, when it comes to Republican Party politics. But it's like there's this baseline belief now on the right that it's okay, we have to go right back to being party first. We have to go right back to being party first. We have to go right back to supporting the GOP, the Republican Party, no matter what. And any criticism of that, or specifically the one issue that's destroying it right now, foreign policy, and any disagreement there, you got to get out. You got to get out. And it's kind of a, like I said, I don't take the sip of coffee today for the meme, the I told you so meme. But I mean, there's a lot of that in the news today. I got to be honest. There's going to be a lot of that in today's stack of news. But here's the frustration. And I am going to circle back to this, but since I let off with this now, I'll tell you the frustration and then explain what I think is really going on here. And I'll ask you this. And if you saw it somewhere I didn't, then good for you. But I'll ask you this. Who in the media was warning that this was going to happen besides me? Because the answer for me is no one. Nobody. Nobody was warning out about this besides me. And I get it. I get why the right wing is hesitant to say anything negative. I get why the right wing is still kind of in this honeymoon phase or this denial phase, whatever's going on. And then the ones that have jumped ship are the ones that are constantly staying in tune with the truth and reporting reality as they see it without being tugged and pulled and swayed around by the different political movements and propaganda and everything else. But the answer is no one, folks. Believe me, I know. And I said this. I started saying this about 4 or 5 months ago. And really, I part of the intention of this show, and I understand not everybody can tune in every day. Not everybody wants to tune in every day, and that's fine. But for the people that do tune in every day, you really understand how my broadcasts are like a sequence of events. You understand that there's so much context that goes in, you almost have to watch them in chronological order. Because if you remember, it was about 5 months ago, I said that right-wing news has lost all its value. You may recall that. If you tune in every day, you may remember I did a segment and I said, there is, now you are getting as much value, just about as much value from CNN or MSN Now, or MSNBC at the time, MS Now. Still nobody cares about the name change. You can get as much value from MSN Now and CNN as you can from Fox News. They're about equal. And that's not to say that they're not on the same playing field. That's not to say that the people on Fox are less or more honest than the people on CNN. I would say that Fox is probably still delivering you more truth, and that the people on Fox are probably still have a higher moral integrity grade than the people on CNN. But as far as getting anything valuable out of it, as far as it moving the ball or changing anything, there is virtually zero value now. There's virtually none anymore. It's just Republican Party slop, Republican Party talking points, stay on the plantation, stay here with us, we're not going to change anything. It's basically what it's become. And so I used to spend probably 10 hours a day consuming news. And now consuming news in the standard tradition, TV, talk radio, whatever you have it, now it's so watered down. Most of these news sources, most of these news outlets have become so watered down, or they've just given up, that my news consumption is now like down to probably half of what it was, because there's just no value there anymore. There's almost no value in TV news anymore. There's almost no value in broadcast news anymore. Now you have to either go straight to alternative news, or you have to spend your due diligence combing through the web for the stories you want, and then doing the double filtration process off of everybody's different coverage of that to determine what you think is really happening with a particular story. So again, I ask you, who was warning that this case was going to be spiked? And again, I answer. The answer is nobody. I was reporting on it, and I didn't see anyone else reporting on it. And I'm watching everybody. And the attitude was, oh, well, they got it figured out. Well, really, do they have it figured out? Do you think this was a big case? It's like now we have to sit here and we have to address the MAGA cult that is holding back the American Revolution 2.0. We have to address the MAGA cult that is now stopping America first. We have to address the MAGA cult that is now stopping MAGA. That's the crazy clown world paradox that we're in right now. So it's like you have to address this to the MAGA crowd that is actually holding back MAGA. And they had all kinds of excuses. Oh, Halligan's got it. Oh, Trump wouldn't blow this. Oh, trust Bondi, all of this other stuff. And I said, you guys just have no clue what's going on. And you're not even curious to find out. Now, the question is, was this case spiked intentionally? That's the question. Now, here's my best guess versus against all the information that's available as to why this case got spiked. I don't think there was any interest, to be honest, folks. I don't think there was any interest. Don't ask me why. You'd think there would be extreme interest. You'd think that they'd be handling these cases with James and Comey. I mean, talk about the deep state. Talk about the swamp. Talk about political corruption. What was it Dan Bongino just said last week? Public corruption won't be tolerated. And everybody scoffed and everybody laughed because we're sitting here watching public corruption be tolerated. But he said it. So I don't know why there was no real interest in the Comey case and the Letitia James case from Pam Bondi. I don't know why there was no real interest in going after these deep state corrupt officials from the Trump administration. I don't know why. You'll have to ask someone that gets the access. You'll have to ask a good little boy that gets a pat on the head and gets the access. Maybe they'll ask that question. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why they spiked this case, but that's what they did. Now, my best guess is that Lindsay Halligan is probably the only one that was fighting to prosecute this case. That's my best understanding. That's my best guess. And they were probably not even going to do it. I don't think Bondi was even going to do it. Again, Trump's saying all of this, Trump's involvement in all of this, your guess is as good as mine. I'd be shocked if Trump didn't care about this, but yet look at the results. So it's hard to believe otherwise. I think Halligan fought for this case, and I think they gave it to Halligan like a favor type of thing. You know, like an intern that's been waiting to get a chance for years, you know, or like, you know, sometimes it happens in media and talk radio or TV where there'll be somebody who's worked for a long time behind the scenes, maybe a producer, whatever, a writer, but they'd like to get on camera one time. They'd like to get behind the microphone one time, and there's a series of events, maybe people get sick, holidays, whatever, and you say, hey, you know what? You want to go on today? Why don't you just go ahead? So it's like, yeah, we're kind of phoning this one in. We're kind of cashing this one in. But you know what? You've worked really hard, and you got a good attitude and a good spirit, and we like you. So why don't you just go ahead? You're on air today. Go ahead. Knock it out. Have fun. It feels like that's what happened with Halligan. Nobody was going to take this case. Nobody wanted this case. They were about to spike the case. And Halligan was probably saying, hey, what the heck? Nobody wants this case? I'll take the case. Like, oh, you don't want this case. Nobody wants this case. We're not going to prosecute this case. Just leave it alone. And Halligan said, no, well, let me try it. Can I get a go at it? Give me a shot. Give me a shot. I can do it. So they kind of rolled their eyes and they said, all right, Halligan. Here you go. Take the Bondi James case. Take the Bondi Comey case. You go ahead. Just have fun. Knock it out. Good luck. Godspeed, Lindsay. Good. And we have no resources. We have no help for you. You're all on your own. One of the biggest cases in this country right now. One of the biggest cases when it comes to deep state corruption. One of the biggest cases, maybe the biggest case when it comes to political persecution of Donald Trump. Why don't you go ahead and take it, Lindsay, with no prosecutorial experience? Go ahead, Lindsay. Go ahead. And, of course, she did it. She's probably a true believer. She probably thought she could really get it done. And then what'd you get? You get a judge in there who, yes, was a Democrat. And the judge just said, no, On a technicality, no. Oh, but they got it all figured out, guys. Trust the plan. They got it all figured out. No, they don't. In case you haven't noticed, they don't. And it seems that Trump is able to get the ball moving on issues dealing with the economy and trade. Now, sometimes the ball moves in a good direction. Sometimes the ball moves in the wrong direction. But, okay, he's in there with Bessent and Lutnick, and they're actually moving the ball. For good or for bad, they're in there playing the game, moving the ball. And then, of course, you've got the Israeli lobby that's in there, and they're in there moving the ball. These are the only two things that anything is moving on right now. Now, I think most of America would agree that trying to handle the trade deficit, trying to handle the economy, maybe from that angle they might have a disagreement on, but okay, we're trying to handle the economy, we're trying to handle trade, we're trying to get something figured out here. We want a long-term plan. We want manufacturing, we want production, we want jobs. All right, okay, we're working on that. The ball is moving on that front. I think again, the stock market doesn't really say too much about the real state of the economy, but it shows you that, okay, things are happening. Things are moving. I think you're getting the first signs of your Christmas rally in the stock market today after a lot of panic last week. Okay, so the ball's moving. And then on foreign policy, the ball's moving there. So you've got the Israeli lobby running around the White House. They run the whole show. Ball is moving on that. Where is the ball moving on the deep state arrests? Well, today they dropped the case of Thomas Crooks. The FBI has dropped the Thomas Crooks case. They say he acted alone, no motive known. Of course. Of course he acted alone. Of course there was no motive. Of course. You know, a guy with virtually no training, no online footprint, whatever. He almost kills the president. He almost kills one of the most powerful, influential men with the top security team on the planet, and he's almost able to kill him on a rooftop with everybody watching. Yeah, okay. Okay, guys. So, you know, that's kind of a big deal. What are we doing about the deep state? Oh, and now this. Letitia James, James Comey, deep state actors, corruption. And what are we doing about this? Nothing. It's over. Case closed. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. But my guess is if they try to bring this case back up, it's done now. And they're going to say, sorry, you already tried it. You got one shot. You blew it. Did you want deep state arrests? Oh. Do you guys remember, too? Do you guys remember as well when I was first making public comments on this, they were acting like James Comey was already arrested. They were pretending like James Comey was already arrested. I said, hey, 0 deep state arrests. And now they're going to spike the Comey case. They said, Comey's already been arrested. They already got Comey. You panicking? You're a black pillar. You're a doomer. Right. But I was right, wasn't I? Yeah. So it's okay. Someday you'll see things my way. Someday. It always eventually comes true. So I just ask whatever's left of MAGA. I just ask all the people that say everything's in control, everything's going great. Was arresting James Comey and Letitia James important to you? It's kind of symbolic of arresting the deep state, you know? And those are the easiest cases, by the way. Those are the ones where we already have all the evidence. In the James case, it's like open and shut. Where are we at, guys? Did we still already arrest James Comey? Oh, in the panicking. Oh, in the fake MAGA. He says that we're not going to get deep state arrests. We already arrested James Comey. Really? What jail is he in? What was James Comey convicted of, and what prison is he in right now? Because you guys told me Comey was arrested when I warned you this case was going to get spiked a month ago, and you said he was already arrested. So I'm just curious, what prison is James Comey in? I'd like to actually visit him. Good friend of mine, James Comey, good sport. I'd like to maybe send James Comey a letter. So to all the people that said Comey was arrested when I warned you this case was going to get dropped, for all of those people, I'm just curious, could you tell me what prison James Comey is in today? Because I would love to send him a letter. Maybe he'd write me back. I just would like to know, because you guys got it all figured out, by the way. You guys have been right about everything, not me. Comey's in jail, guys. So tell me, what prison is he in? I'd like to send him a letter. Because this panicking must have been wrong, guys. Comey was already arrested. I mean, duh. Come on, guys. That's MAGA. Just say he was arrested and it's true. Just say it. No, we don't play that game here. We don't play that game here, folks. But I'll tell you what, if I'm wrong, just tell me. Just tell me what prison James Comey is in. Tell me what he was convicted of, and I'll say that you were right. It's that easy. All you got to do is just tell me what prison he's in, and I'll tell you were right. That's all you got to do, if you can do it. If you can do it, folks, I'm waiting. All right, I'm going to dive into the news here. We'll circle that back to that. I'm going to dive into the news here. But we got to tell you about my friends at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. And here's why. They got a great Black Friday survival kit special going right now. Okay? If you have not done anything, you hear about emergency preparedness, you hear about emergency food supplies. These are two separate things, but at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen, you can take care of both of them. So you hear a lot about these things. So my question is, what have you done? What have you done to get prepared for the worst? What have you done for emergency water supplies? What have you done for emergency food supplies? What have you done for even emergency energy supplies or the ability to cook food or filter water in an emergency? What have you done? And if the answer to that is nothing, well, I've got good news for you. Because right now at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen, the Black Friday survival special can help you take care of all of these needs, at least to get it started and check these boxes. So right now, at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen, you can get the Black Friday Survival Special, a 4-week emergency food supply, plus $150 worth of free gifts, including everything you need to prepare your emergency meals, like a cook stove, fuel, and fire starters, plus a water purifier, a bug-out bag, and more. It's the complete survival kit your family needs to ride out natural disasters, civil unrest, or anything worse. It also makes a great Christmas gift, but it will only be live until Black Friday. So go to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen and take advantage of this kit. Folks, this is the one. If you haven't done anything to check any of the boxes when it comes to emergency preparedness, this is a great time to do it with the Black Friday Survival Special. Check those boxes. Get your emergency preparedness kit started at mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. All right, we're going to circle back. We're going to Psaki circle back eventually to that Comey story. But let's go now to the news. Let's get into the stack. President Trump says the Republican Party has never been so united. Now, I've got the post of him attacking Rand Paul and attacking Thomas Massie. Do you believe that the Republican Party has never been so united? Do you believe that that is true? And if you do, then what is your angle? Now, I would say I don't believe that, but I guess it depends on what your metrics are, what your measurements are. But I would say no, the Republican Party has maybe never been so divided. The last time the Republican Party was this divided was when we, the people, were trying to beat the neocon establishment by getting Trump to be the nominee in 2016. That was the last time the party was this divided on political lines. We, the people, wanted Trump. The Republican establishment was against Trump. And then some of your fake MAGA names like Levin and Shapiro, they were also never Trumpers. They also campaigned against Trump. And many more, by the way. Many, many more. Well, now they claim to be MAGA. So the anti-MAGA crowd from 10 years ago, now they claim to be MAGA. And now the Trump supporting crowd from 10 years ago, now they can't stand MAGA and they can't stand the Republican Party. So I would say the Republican Party is really divided. But if you look at it through the lens of just raw D.C. politics, then I guess the Republican Party is united. It's very united on foreign policy that's unpopular with the American people. It's very united on issues that were never part of the MAGA or America First agenda, but are now the top priority. It is united on those things. So, yes, the neocon establishment is back. The neocon establishment backs President Trump. And so in that regard, the Republican Party has never been so united. But the people, the voters, most, if not many of Trump's base, are against the Republican Party now, against what this administration is doing now. So by those measurements, the Republican Party has never been so fractured. But see, there's the truth again. The truth is always hidden in between the lines, folks. Remember what they were saying during the shutdown? Mike Johnson, John Thune, many others on the right. Remember what they were saying during the shutdown? They said, the Democrats are afraid of their voters. The Democrats are doing the bidding of their voters. And I sat here and I said, yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. The Republicans just told you the truth. The Republican leadership, John Thune and Mike Johnson, just told you the truth. They don't care about the voters. They do not give a damn. They have no fear of the voters. And I guess that's the assumption that you're never going to vote for a leftist. You're never going to vote for a liberal. You're never going to vote for a Democrat. So they just assume they can do whatever the hell they want, and they're still going to get your vote because you're never going to vote left. Well, we'll see how that works out for them. But they said it. The Democrats respond to their voters. The Republicans respond to their donors. That's it. That's why this administration has gone sideways. That's why MAGA has fallen apart. Because MAGA is now all about the donors. And somehow these Republican leaders think it's good messaging to come out here and say the Democrats are afraid of their voters. Oh, well, what are the Republicans afraid of then? If the Republicans don't give a damn about their voters, then who are they listening to? Who's running this? Who's running the agenda then? Oh, we know. It's the donors. It's the lobbyists. It's never been more obvious. And they just rub it in your face. So I guess if your measurement is, are the neocons back in control? Are the neocons back in control of foreign policy and prioritizing what happens in D.C.? The answer is yes. And if your measurement for is the Republican Party united, are the neocons in control, then yes, the Republican Party is more united than ever. We're going to make sure there's more foreign aid, make sure there's more foreign funding, more military aid, more foreign wars all over the place. We're putting America first on the back burner. I've got a story today. It's in the back of the news stack. But maybe I'll mention this now. The news stack is a little unorthodox today. Everything's kind of all over the map. You know, I try to keep things in order, but today it's just wild and all over the map. So I imagine the show will go similarly. Did you know there's legislation now to take the benefits for survivors and the families of victims of September 11th and give it to victims of October 7th? Did you know that? Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't that just say it all? Doesn't that just say everything? Now, you can be very pro-Israel and you can support the victims of the October 7th stand-down attack. All right, that's good. Why are programs that were created for victims of September 11th being given to victims of October 7th? Something that happened in a foreign country, something that had nothing to do with us? Why is that? Why is it that some of the victims and their family of October 7th have had multiple visits to the White House and they have had multiple ceremonies with President Trump giving them awards or other such things? Why has that happened? Where is the January 6th victim group at the White House? Where's the group of January 6th victims getting something from President Trump? Anything? Why is it that victims of October 7th get more access to the White House than victims of the January 6th political persecution? Why is it that victims of October 7th are now getting benefits? They're trying to give them benefits from the victims of September 11th. Why is that? Republican Party more united than ever. Don't you know? Well, if the Republican Party is so united, why is President Trump attacking Rand Paul and Thomas Massie? Again, by the way. Again. This is from today. Whatever happened to Senator Rand Paul? He was never great, but he went really bad. I got him elected twice, Mr. President. Rand Paul was in office before you ever ran for office, before you became the president. So this is just petty and pathetic. But he never votes positively for the Republican Party. Yeah, the Republican Party sucks. Again, like, why is that an upset? If the Republican Party wants to vote me into another war, if the Republican Party wants to vote more of my tax dollars overseas, if the Republican Party wants to vote for a surveillance state and spy on me against my constitutional privacy rights, then why would I want to vote for the Republican Party? So this is Trump telling you, unification of the Republican Party means the neocons are in control and the foreign lobbyists are in control. That's what this is about. Yes, you have unity in the Republican Party. The swamp has taken over. The neocons and the foreign lobbyists and the special interests are now running this administration. It's more united than ever. And if you stand against that corruption, and if you continue to stand against the deep state and you demand justice, then you're now out. You don't count. And the president is now going to use his political power and influence of the bully pulpit to destroy you. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Rand Paul, Thomas Massie. What do they all have in common? They're all running against major AIPAC money. What do they all have in common? They don't like foreign wars. And then Representative Randy Fine over the weekend comes out and admits the entire thing. They will purge anybody from the movement that isn't pro-Israel. They've admitted the entire game, folks. So, see, that's why the gaslighting here is so bad. You know, I don't mind a fair, honest debate. I don't mind it at all. Remember, let's go back to what I said. This is officially 2 weeks ago. I said, if you're confused why the Israel lobby is so willing to crash and burn the MAGA coalition and the right wing, it's because they don't have to worry about winning elections. They own both sides, so it doesn't matter to them if they destroy the right. So where are we now? Where are we now? They've completely destroyed the MAGA coalition. There is no united right wing. There's only the unification of the neoconservative class, the political elite, the foreign lobbyists, and the special interests. That's it. So it's like, I don't mind a fair and honest debate. Like, admit that Israel is your priority. Don't lie to me about it. Just admit it. You love Israel, and you're loyal to Israel, and so you want to see policy that benefits Israel. Just be honest. Don't sit here and tell me that you're America first. Don't sit here and tell me you represent MAGA. Don't sit here and tell me that this is draining the swamp. You're just lying. Just be honest. Your number one priority is a foreign country. But see, that's why they can't be honest right there. Because if they admit that their number one priority is a foreign country, then I guess everything else they say falls apart, doesn't it? So that's why they can never admit it. That's why they have to lie to you. That's why they have to gaslight you. Just be honest. Just be honest about it. If you don't support Israel, you're not welcome in the Republican Party. If you don't support Israel, you're not welcome in MAGA. That's what it is. Just say it. Just be honest about it. But when you pretend like that's not what's going on and you gaslight people, now that's when things get nasty. Now that's when it becomes a powder keg. Now that's when it gets fiery because you're just lying. If you could just be honest about it, and we could just have an open and honest debate like, hey, your interests are Israel's, our interests are America's. Okay, let's just move forward. We'll have the debate. But no, you lie. You gaslight. You pretend like that's not what's going on. And it couldn't be more obvious. That's exactly what's going on. So stop gaslighting. Just be honest. But see, since you can't even be honest about that, why would we trust that you're honest about anything? Like, at least Randy Fine comes out. I mean, he loves He couldn't see enough dead children. He would, if Randy Fine could have a live camera going with a live feed into a movie theater of dead kids dying in Palestine, Randy Fine would be spending his time in that movie theater watching kids die in Palestine, eating popcorn, maybe even getting a little erotic to it. That's the type of sick freak that guy is. But hey, at least he's honest about it. At least he's like, hey, we're purging the Republican Party of anybody that doesn't support Israel. So let's call it the Israel Party then. Like, just at least Fine is honest about it. So then there's the Marjorie Taylor Greene exit this weekend. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this. If you saw her video, if you read her transcript, you understand where she's coming from. And you would understand that that's where we thought MAGA was going. That's what we thought this Trump administration was going to be all about, what Marjorie Taylor Greene said in that video. But instead, it's not, and so she's been forced out. Now, there's been a bunch of different conjecture about why they think she did it or what's really going on. Now, she briefly addressed this. I quite frankly don't think it's that big of a deal. She says that she's not running for president. Time claims sources told them I'm running for president in 2028, which means this is a complete lie, and they made it up because they can't even quote the names of the people who they claim said it. They're just lying. She says, I'm not running for president and never said I wanted to, and I've only laughed about it when anyone mentioned it. So it just goes on and on. She's basically saying, hey, I've never even thought about it. I've never even said it. I don't know where they're getting this. Now, remember, they tried to make the same claim about MTG wanting to run for Senate. Just totally made up. So this is all propaganda. This is all propaganda against Marjorie Taylor Greene to try to make her look dumb, try to make her look stupid. She wanted to run for Senate, and nobody liked her, and Trump told her not to. So that's why she's quitting. Totally made up, never happened. Oh, she's dropping out because she wants to run for president. Totally made up, no evidence. Now, I don't know what the truth is as far as Marjorie Taylor Greene is concerned. I think that she dropped out and she retired from Congress, and I think the reasons that she laid out in her video and in her official statement, I believe those are real. And I get it. And I don't know if it was a politically strategic move or it was just more of an instinctual move, but she was like, hey, I'm done. See, and that's what I'm trying to say. For people that don't understand. Folks, it is such a nasty business. Politics is such a nasty business. Whether you're actually in office or whether you're in media. Sometimes it might be worse if you're in media. But it's so nasty. And right now, the nastiest group of people where most of the hate and vitriol is coming from is from the Israeli lobby. Now, I don't know if those are the people threatening Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I can tell you from my experience, from my more than 10 years in political media, I've never seen more hatred and vitriol spewed from any group of people that I'm seeing right now from the Israeli lobbyists. And this is me. I went against the Republican deep state to get Trump elected. We then went against the radical left and the liberal deep state for 10 years with President Trump, and now we're right back here where now it's the radical right. It's the neocon right. It's the foreign interest owned right. So now we're ramming heads with them again. Yes, they are nasty. Yes, they try to ruin your life. Yes, they threaten you and death threat you and dox you. So Marjorie Taylor Greene may have said, you know what? Why should I stick around for this? Why should I ruin my life for this movement that's already dead? Why should I stick around in D.C. and continue to make my life more miserable and my family suffer more for a political movement in D.C. that's now dead and that doesn't want anything to do with me? They're trying to kick me out. So why? What's the purpose? Well, you could argue you stick around as a patriot. You stick around to keep your voice heard. You stick around to just cause whatever, I guess you could say, I don't know if chaos is the right word, but whatever stalling you can when it comes to more bad decisions, more bad votes. But she probably just took the measurements and said, yeah, it's not worth it for me anymore. This isn't what I ran to be involved in. Now, again, whether she is thinking about running for president or not, I don't really know, but she's denying it. She's obviously never said that she wants to do it publicly. All of her friends and family have said no, she has no interest in it. And it's amazing to me, every time we see a story like this, people just they don't even care about finding the truth. They just, everything has to be whatever they think it is politically. Oh, I hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's doing this because she's selfish. Oh, I hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's doing this to stick it to Trump. Oh, I hate Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's doing this because she wants to run for president. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you try being anti-establishment for a day in your life? Why don't you try going against the political establishment for a day in your life? Let's see how you like it. Yeah. Let's see how you like getting doxxed. Let's see how you like your family being tormented. Let's see how much you like SWAT teams pointing guns at you, putting laser sights on you. Let's see how much you like dealing with the lawfare and the frivolous lawsuits to keep you tied up in courts. Let's see how you like being censored. Let's see how you like going to prison. Let's see how you like it. You want to talk tough against Marjorie Taylor Greene because you think, oh, we got one out? Let's see you. Let's see you speak truth to power a day in your life. Let's see you stand up to corruption in politics a day in your life. Let's see how long you last. Let's see if you can last 1/10, just 10% of how long Marjorie Taylor Greene lasted. Let's just see, big guys. Let's see you tough talkers. Let's go ahead and see it. Let's go ahead and see it. Because many of you waded into this in 2024. You can't even stand a little disagreement on foreign policy. You guys are crying and wailing and kicking around and flopping around on the floor, bathing in your own tears, just from a disagreement on foreign policy from other Americans. Imagine actually going up against the corruption. Imagine speaking truth to the real power. You can't. You couldn't even fathom it. And I saw Cernovich post today. He said, has Trump... Here, in fact, let me pull this up. He posts so much. I hope I can find this one quickly. But we're about to close the first hour. So I suppose I could do it in a break. I think I can find it right now, though. Let's see here. Going back. I've committed now. Can't cancel it now. Have to find it now. He said, if I can't find it, he said, has Trump considered what will happen if the Democrats win the midterms and impeach him? Has he considered what will happen? I wish I could find the exact post, but unable to find it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if Trump has considered that, but I have. I would be surprised if it's something that hasn't been brought up to Trump or something he hasn't just thought about himself. Seems like it's a pretty obvious thought to consider, especially at this point. But I think that this is where they're getting it wrong. I think this is where the Trump administration, or maybe even Trump himself, are getting it wrong. And I mean, folks, again, it's like today. Who else was telling you they were going to spike the Comey James case? Tell me, who else in media? If there was anybody else, let me know. Seriously, was anybody else telling you that besides me? I didn't see or hear anybody except me saying it. Now, here we are. Case is closed. Spiked it. I was attacked. I was called crazy. I trust the plan, all this other stuff. Halligan's great. It was never about Halligan. I bet Halligan's fantastic. She probably begged to take this case because she saw nobody else wanted it. So Cernovich asked, I couldn't find the post. He asks, has anybody considered in the Trump administration or Trump himself, has anybody considered what happens if the Democrats win the midterms and impeach him? I have. And I've been talking about it for months right here on this show. Just like I told you they were going to spike the James and Comey case. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. God forbid if the Democrats win the midterms, which looking pretty good for them right now, they will impeach Trump. And Trump is being set up. Trump is being set up as we speak by the very people that he thinks are going to have his back. And that's the problem. President Trump, I'm telling you right now, they're setting you up. You're trusting the snakes, President Trump. You know that poem you always read on the campaign trail? You're the one trusting the snakes now. They are setting you up in Venezuela, President Trump. They are setting you up for impeachment. That's just the obvious one. Who knows what else they're going to try to throw at you if the Democrats win the midterms for impeachment. But they're setting you up right now, President Trump. They are setting you up. And this is where you're going to make your biggest mismeasurement if you continue down this path. Cernovich asks, has anybody considered what happens if the Democrats win the midterms and impeach? Mr. President, all these people that are by your side now that weren't there in 2016, they weren't there in 2020, that are now setting you up for impeachment, all of these people, if you assume for 1 second they're going to fight for you, I hate to tell you this, but you're just horribly wrong. You're horribly wrong. None of them will fight for you, President Trump. They will run faster than Mike Pence on January 6th. They will sprint away from your side. They won't be able to hide from you quick enough the minute the Democrats win the midterms. And they'll move to impeach you within 24 hours of being sworn in. And all the people you've surrounded yourself with, they will run like cockroaches. President Trump, if you think for 1 second any of these people will fight for you, you got another thing coming. They can't even get charges to stick on Letitia James. Do you hear what I'm saying, Mr. President? They can't even get charges to stick on Letitia James. There was probably not even any interest in getting charges to stick on Letitia James. Mr. President, the people that fought for you, the people that bled for you, the people that cried for you, some of the people that died for you, you have pushed them so far away. You have thrown them overboard. They're not going to be there to fight for you, Mr. President. I don't bring you this news with joy. I'm warning you. They are setting you up. They are setting you up. And if you think any of these people are going to fight for you through impeachment, you got another thing coming. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, Mr. President. But tell me, was there even a single individual when President Trump was going through the impeachment hearings, was there even a single individual that dared stand up against the Democrats, that dared stand up and call them out and say they were committing treason and go to jail for it? Was there a single individual that did that? Was there one? There was one, wasn't there? There was one. There was a single one. But you're not interested in that individual. You're more interested in Mark Levin. And to that I say, good luck.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you about my friends at Patriot Protect. And there's a reason why this sponsor is near and dear to my heart. And I'm hoping that you don't have to have a similar experience that I had, and you don't have to go through the learning process of why having Patriot Protect services are so important. So here's the deal. There's a big problem, and it's because it's scarily easy for criminals, scammers, or anyone looking to do you harm to find your personal information online. Your home address, phone number, workplace, even your family members' names and information are exposed with just a few clicks. Now, folks, I can tell you this from experience. And if you recall some of the things that I've been through recently, being doxxed, having family members harassed and doxxed, having SWAT teams called to my house, and everything else, I was stunned to find out this was all information that they can find on the internet. You might be shocked this information on you and your family is out there as well. So these data breaches can expose sensitive information, but people, search sites, and data brokers take the threat even further. They actively harvest your personal details, your address, phone number, family connections, and then publish them online, making them searchable on Google or any search engine, easily accessible to anyone who might want to exploit them or do harm to you and your family. This constant exposure puts both you and your loved ones at risk. We've seen what happens when that exposure turns into real-world danger, whether it's harassment, stalking, scamming, or worse. The internet shouldn't hand criminals a map to your home. The solution is available at patriot-protect.com/Owen. That's patriot-protect.com/Owen, where they scrub the internet for your personal information, removing it from the search engines, including Google and others, over 100 data broker and people search sites. These are the same sites bad actors rely on to track, target, or intimidate you and your family. You didn't agree to share this information with the world, but now you can take it back. Stay protected and stay safe. Patriot Protect continuously monitors and removes your personal information from the most common sources online. The system scans for your data, deletes it, and keeps watching. So if it pops up again, it gets wiped out again. This 24/7 digital protection for less than what you would pay to keep the lights on at your house, because the only thing worse than getting hacked is knowing that you could have stopped it. So, you want to learn more? Go to patriot-protect.com/Owen. You can see that web URL on the screen right now. That's patriot-protect.com/Owen. And you can use promo code Owen for 15% off the yearly subscription. Folks, take advantage of this. 15% off with coupon code Owen. What a great deal to protect your private information. I'm telling you, you don't want this to happen to you. Coupon code Owen, 15% off a yearly subscription. patriot-protect.com/Owen.
Navigating between the sane and insane, it's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right. Second hour here of the Owen Report. Glad to be with you here on this Monday. How's your Monday going? How's your Monday, guys? I got to tell you, we got this dreary Monday here in Austin. Foggy, cloudy, rainy. Ugh. Where'd my summer go? Where'd my Texas heat go? All right. Well, we've kind of covered this, but I still got a little bit remaining in my stack, so we'll just knock it out. James Comey and Letitia James cases dismissed as judge disqualifies interim U.S. Attorney Lindsey Halligan. Poor Halligan. It's my summation here that she basically was the last one that wanted to take this case, keep it alive. The swamp didn't want it. They tried to dismiss it, and Halligan was in there scraping and clawing, saying, no, we can't let this go. Let me try it. They gave her a shot, and the judge said, you've never even prosecuted a case, so no. And she might have made some errors. And that's to be expected for a woman. I don't know how old she is. She looks pretty young. How old is Halligan? Let me see how old Lindsay Halligan is. Yeah, 36 years. We're almost virtually the same age. I'm about 20 days older than her. I feel for you, Lindsay. I'm on Team Lindsay Halligan. I don't want this to be misconstrued. Lindsay, I'm on your team. I think you wanted this case. I think you fought for this case. I think you saw the swamp trying to spike this case, and you said, give me a shot at this case. And the judge tossed it. And, you know, maybe you made some errors. It was your first time prosecuting a case like this. They gave you basically no help, no resources, just like they've done Ed Martin. It's like the real patriots in D.C. get nothing. The real patriots in this administration are basically forced to carry 10,000-pound weights all by themselves, like Lindsay Halligan, like Ed Martin. So no, Lindsay, I don't want this to be misconstrued that I'm attacking you. I'm not. I'm supporting you. I think you did the right thing. And you were basically put in a position that was nearly impossible to succeed with. So I support you, Lindsay. I think you represent what's the best part of this administration, which is the younger generation, the anti-establishment people who are actually fighting for change and fighting for justice. So I'm sorry you got thrown under the bus like this, and they're going to blame it on you when it wasn't your fault. But there it is. I've been warning about this for a month. I saw the signs coming for a month, and now here we are. And that's why they call me the Babe Ruth of political talk. But I'm with you, Lindsay. I don't blame this on you at all. You were set up to fail intentionally, and you did everything you could. I believe that. I believe that. All right, moving on. Snap. These stories are wild. Lack of security reviews left Minnesota's SNAP system vulnerable to breaches and fraud. Oh, no kidding. By the way, I don't even have this in my stack, but we'll bring it up now. You know that Doge is officially done, right? Doge is no more. There is no Doge. It's done, closed, over. I can't even cover the news. It's just like, it's what I'm saying, man. It's just like, what are you fighting for? What are we fighting for? Hey, we're going to get Letitia James and James Comey. Spiked, done. Hey, we're going to find out who's really behind Thomas Crooks, the assassination of Donald Trump. Spiked, done. Hey, we're going to get Doge. We're going to cut all the waste, fraud, and abuse. We're going to get forensic audits. We're going to get all the criminals responsible behind bars. Done, spiked, over. What are you fighting for? What is left? What are we doing? It's all about big tech. It's all about the billionaires. It's all about foreign countries now, folks. So if you're fighting for that, then go ahead. That's your thing. That's not my thing. I don't fight for billionaires. They don't need my help. I don't fight for special interests. I don't fight for foreign interests. I don't fight for bigger government. Now that's what MAGA's become. We should be outraged that Doge is no more. We should be asking why. So you see this? Oh, SNAP programs. Tens of millions of dollars annually, wide open for fraud. Doge was supposed to address this, but Doge is shut down. Because if you're not in it for the billionaire donor class, if you're not in it for the foreign lobbyist class, you're out. Get out. They don't want you here. Just ask Elon Musk. And these Somalis, I don't think they're the brightest people. But boy, they can figure out how to rig a SNAP program. 77th defendant charged in feeding our future fraud scheme. This is a giant Somali operation in Minnesota. Just stealing money from the American people. 77 defendants now. Yeah, Doge would have been nice. Doge would have helped put an end to this. And instead, we put an end to Doge. So here's Secretary Brooke Rollins. It's like, what is even, how does she, the Secretary of Agriculture, why is the Secretary of Agriculture involved in this? I guess that has something to do with SNAP benefits. Let's hear what she has to say.
I think what's really important, and you mentioned it, that we have been, for the first time in history, collecting the data. We asked all the states to send data in. We had 29 states comply, most of them the red states. And what we found was staggering. And this was before the government shut down. This is over the last few months. 186,000 dead people receiving benefits. 500.
Excuse me? I'm sorry. What?
186,000 dead people receiving benefits.
Oh, 186,000 dead people receiving benefits, huh? And how many of them vote, too? And how many of them are getting Social Security and SNAP and vote and all this other stuff? Yeah, that's what DOJ was supposed to stop. That's what this administration was supposed to stop, cleaning up our elections. Where are we at, folks? How's all that going? Don't worry, we got more bombs for foreign countries, though. Plenty of them to come.
500,000 Americans receiving benefits 2 times, so double what they should be receiving. We've arrested more than 120 people with SNAP fraud, and that's just from the states that sent their data in. That doesn't include most of the blue states, but we believe there's even more fraud and abuse. And under the last administration, the SNAP benefits increased 40%. So clearly there's a right sizing that needs to happen. And the, I think, unintended consequence of the Democrat shutdown was now the spotlight has been shined on, and we have to make sure for those who really need
the Democrat shutdown. You're still saying that crap? I'm sorry. This is oh man, that's good. The Democrat shutdown. Okay, all right. So imagine what these numbers would actually be if the Democrats were turning into the data. So you've got millions of people engaging in waste, fraud, and abuse, but we don't even have DOJ to take care of it anymore because Elon Musk was kicked out of the administration without haste. MAGA, baby. How's MAGA? We're going to arrest Letitia James and James Comey, and then the whole deep state's going to come to its knees. Case dismissed. We're going to use DOJ. We're going to go after all the waste, fraud, and abuse. This will expose the deep state and collapse it. We're winning. DOJ is closed. We're going to find out who motivated Thomas Crooks to assassinate President Trump. Case closed. I mean, it's just funny, folks. It's just like, if you're still believing this crap, oh, I do feel bad for you. But it is funny. Well, hey, if you're Letitia James or James Comey, no need to fear. Your case will be spiked. But if you said a racial slur, we'll see you in court. Trial date set for Rochester woman accused of using racial slurs. You may have remembered the Shiloh Hendricks story. 36-year-old mother had an incident on a park. Used the N-word. The N-word. While she was being filmed by someone at a park. And I believe that she was actually the victim of a theft. So she's actually the victim of a criminal act. Or at least that was the allegations. Who knows what really went down, this stuff. You know, a single video never tells the full story. But either way, she's going to be in court because she said a bad word. I wonder how that's going to go for you. But, hey, you know, you're Letitia James. You're good to go. No problem. All right, what else do we have here? Oh. We've got Ice Barbie, Kristi Noem. You know, it's funny. I'm listening to her describe this corruption here, and it all sounds very familiar. Listen to what Kristi Noem is describing, this fraud and corruption to Will Cain. Listen to this.
Today, we are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent to NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually
Wait a second. Whoa. Pam Bondi was supposed to be all over this, guys. This was literally Pam Bondi's initiative. This was Pam Bondi's job to go after these groups and we were supposed to get investigations, and we were supposed to get charges. Where was Pam Bondi? Bondi checking in. Pam Bondi, hello. You just blew it on the Letitia James Comey case. You're supposed to be going after these left-wing groups. You said multiple times you would. You blew it on the Epstein thing. Are you going to get anything done? Or are you only going to go after somebody that offended a certain religious group? Is that the only thing we're concerned about here, is making sure that anti-Semitism is made illegal? Is that the only thing? If you don't support Israel, we're going to make you a criminal? Is that the only thing we're doing right now? Because the left-wing groups that are organizing and funding all the terror and the disruption of law enforcement, nothing on them. Letitia James and James Comey, looks like they're going to walk, by the way. How's that one going? The Epstein list, the Epstein clients, the billionaire pedophile class, where are we at with that? But don't be a student at Florida State University that gets into a verbal disagreement with a guy who just happens to be of a certain religious orientation. Otherwise, the Department of Homeland Security or the Department of Justice, they're coming after you because you said something mean to a guy in a weight room. Where are our priorities here? This is ridiculous. So, okay. Oh, I won't disrupt. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't disrupt Ice Barbie. She's looking hot. She's looking hot on Fox News. By the way, I credit Will Cain. He's maybe one of the best on Fox News these days. But I should not be disrupting Ice Barbie looking hot on Fox News. So here's Ice Barbie Kristi Noem explaining the exact criminal enterprise that Pam Bondi was supposed to be shutting down.
Today, we are announcing that we have stopped all grant funding that's being abused by NGOs to facilitate illegal immigration into this country. So it's amazing to me the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent by the federal government that has been sent to NGOs to facilitate this invasion of our country. So I've taken action to stop those funds, to reevaluate them, and to make sure that we're actually using the taxpayer dollars in a way that strengthens this country, that keeps us safe. So I think people are curious when we look at grants that are given out by federal agencies at how they're utilized, and that evaluation needs to be done. We're not spending another dime to help the destruction of this country. We're going to.
Oh, that's right. That was what Doge was supposed to be doing. Poor Kristi Noem. You know, her job is to get on television, get dolled up, go on TV and look hot. Her job is to get in front of all of the ICE agents, all dolled up, and look hot and motivate them. You know what? Fine. I'm okay with it. Hey, whatever we got to do to motivate people. You know, if we need a cheerleader up there waving the pom-poms to get ICE to kick in doors and kick ass, and Noem's the one, then go at it, Noem. Go at it. But I feel bad. Noem's supposed to be the cheerleader. Noem's supposed to be the hot chick, the face of the operation, the PR. She's not supposed to be actually engaging in this stuff. This was supposed to be Doge. Doge was supposed to be the one in there exposing where all the money was going. Pam Bondi was supposed to be investigating who was spending the money and for what. And now we have to use Ice Barbie? Ice Barbie now has to do all of this work because you shut down Doge, and Pam Bondi is God knows where doing God knows what? I feel bad for Kristi Noem. She was hired to be Ice Barbie. Now she's actually having to do the job of Doge and Pam Bondi because they're not doing it.
Make sure that we follow through on what President Trump has promised, and that's to make sure that we're securing our border, departing those who are here illegally, and committing criminal actions, and that our taxpayer dollars aren't spent to help it.
And Madam Secretary, I don't think people fully understand the role that NGOs play, many NGOs play, in facilitating illegal immigration. I just want to share these numbers with everybody up on the screen. We spend over $380 million, did in 2024, for sheltering and service programs for illegal immigrants. But the vast network of NGOs that help facilitate it through Panama, through Mexico, and make it a landing spot here in the United States is a massive contributor here to illegal immigration. So what you're telling us today is that now stops, at least the federal funding of that stops?
Mm-hmm. Yes, through the Department of Homeland Security, we have stopped spending those dollars to fund those NGOs. And well, what's been so revealing is that many of these NGOs actually have infrastructure and operations set up in Mexico on that side of the border that are telling those illegal immigrants to come to them, and they will get them across the border. So they're not.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like sedition. That sounds a lot like treason. Who is running these operations? And why haven't they been investigated? Why haven't they been charged? Where's Alejandro Mayorkas? Are there any hearings being scheduled for this?
Not just operating in the United States. They're
By the way, I say that facetiously because the answer is obviously no. Nobody's doing this.
operating outside of the United States to help make it easier for those who want to break our laws.
Right.
And Will, I was one of those Americans that years ago, when somebody said NGO to me, I thought, oh, that's amazing. That's a nonprofit that's out there telling somebody about Jesus or spreading faith and salvation or doing good work and charitable work, helping people that are less fortunate. And then I realized over the years it's been perverted into this shadow government. An NGO is sometimes an operation that does things that the government cannot do, can't legally do. So they create an entity to use government dollars, taxpayer dollars, to do something that the federal government isn't allowed to do, to do a shadow government operation that really has been used recently to undermine our country's national security.
Oh, who was running the shadow government, by the way? It's a pretty incredible thing. Kristi Noem tells the truth about NGOs running a shadow government, NGOs committing treason by facilitating an invasion of this country and bringing in criminals that killed Americans. I'm just curious where there is any criminal investigation of this anywhere. Anybody? Somebody's probably going to be calling Kristi Noem and say, Kristi, shut up. We're not going to do anything about this, so you better shut up. You're embarrassing Pam Bondi right now. You're embarrassing this administration by actually trying to drain the swamp, by actually trying to go after deep state operations and call them out and have investigations into it. You're killing us right now because nobody's going to do that. You're making us look bad, Kristi. Shut up. Go back in front of the cameras. Get dolled up. Put a cowboy hat on and wave your tush around. That's what we hired you to do, all right? Go out there and motivate the ICE agents to do deportations. We don't need to hear about you talking about corruption. Your job is to go out there, look cute, shake your little booty around and tell the ICE agents how great they are. That's what we hired you to do. You're not here to call out the corruption, all right? We're not doing that. So quiet down, Kristi. You're ICE Barbie. You're not ICE detective. You're ICE Barbie. Okay, Kristi? Stop trying to play detective. All right? Oh, she'll be getting the call. I'm sure. How dare you say that with Will Cain? Will Cain might get a call too. Will is a little too close to the truth there on Fox News. Did you hear about this wild story? This is wild. Were these people trying to be like the new Epstein? Seriously. 2 North Texas men indicted in alleged plot to invade Haitian Island, kill all the men, and enslave the women and children. It sounds like these people were going for a new Epstein type of situation. 2 North Texas men are facing charges after allegedly plotting to invade an island off of Haiti, kill all the men, and turn the women and children into their sex slaves, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office of Eastern District of Texas. The U.S. Attorney Jay Combe announced last week that Gavin Weisenberg and Tanner Thomas, Weisenberg, 21, Thomas, 20, have been charged with conspiracy to murder, maim, or kidnap in a foreign country and production of child pornography. The 2-count indictment was returned by a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Texas. Between August 24 and July 2025, Weisenberg and Thomas allegedly schemed to recruit and lead an illegal mercenary force to the island of Gonave, part of the Republic of Haiti, for the purpose of carrying out their rape fantasies, court documents say. Weisenberg and Thomas had plans to purchase a sailboat, firearms, and ammunition, as well as recruit homeless people from Washington, D.C. to serve as their mercenary force as they invaded the island of Gonave and staged a coup d'etat. This is crazy. The 2 men created operational and logistical plans and learned to speak the Haitian Creole language, court documents allege, as well as recruited others to join their invasion and enrolled in schools to learn the skills needed for part of their invasion plan. The announcement from the U.S. Attorney's Office says Thomas enlisted in the U.S. Air Force to learn relevant military skills. I don't know if Weisenberg had the military skills or if he was the brain of the operation, but The two of them could face life in prison if convicted of the federal production of child pornography charges. Both face at least 15 years and up to 30 years in federal prison. I'm sorry. Excuse me if I may be candid for a second here. I don't know. I guess intent and execution, this is a fair question. This is a fair legal philosophy question here. I think this is a fair legal philosophy question. Should intent be treated the same as execution? In other words, if you intend to produce these videos, it's like, so you don't even want to say the words, right? If you intend to produce CP, but you don't, you just intended to, but you get caught, versus if you actually do produce CP, should the charges be the same? I could go either way, but I would say if you produce CP, then life, if not death. You should either get life in jail or death. You should get the death sentence. If you produce child pornography, if you facilitate child rape, I want you in jail for life minimum, if not death penalty. Maybe case by case basis, but I mean, that should be the spectrum. If you produce CP, you're either life in jail or your death sentence. That should be the spectrum of the legal outcome for you. 15 years for trying to produce child rape videos. I'm sorry. That's not cutting it. Life minimum. Now, if you want to argue intent is different than execution, okay, maybe I could hear you out. Maybe I could hear you out with 15 or 30 years for intent. But I don't know. Still seems a little light for my tastes. Still seems a little light. They get 15 years, they're going to be out in their 40s. I guess technically they'll be out in their 30s, depending on how long this case goes. But again, should you be allowed to be out in your 40s with that type of intent? Or should we wait till maybe you're in your 60s? That's wild. Do you really think they were going there to just have an island, to just conquer an island? It feels like, I don't know. That seems a little short-sighted to me, but I don't know. I guess some people, I guess they were going for it. But 15 years seems a little light for the intent to produce CP. That seems like it's a little light for me. I don't like that at all. All right. The Mamdani Trump drama. Let me first play this video before I give my commentary on this. But Mamdani was on Meet the Press this weekend. They all want him to continue to call Trump a fascist. Trump kind of bailed him out. By the way, if you want to kind of get an idea of how things are kind of going inside the White House with the media, there were two reporters that tried to do a gotcha to Mamdani. You had Jack Posobiec asking him about the white thing, and you notice that Trump let him go. Trump didn't step in, didn't cut him off, didn't try to take the pressure off of Mamdani. Trump let Posobiec get his gotcha question in, and Mamdani had to answer it. Now, you may have liked the answer, you may have not have, but obviously Jack said, I'm going to get him on the white question. He got him on it, and Trump let him go. But then when Heinrich tried to get Mamdani on the fascist question, notice how Trump stepped in and cut it off and said, we're not going to do that, because Trump is sick of Heinrich. Now, Heinrich is embedded. She's multiple award winner. She's like the top White House correspondent. It's kind of how it's played. Make up your own mind. But that's kind of Heinrich right now is kind of like senior White House reporter. She's like kind of your senior White House correspondent. And maybe it's the the hot blonde aspect of it. I mean, do you think her work is really that groundbreaking? But Heinrich wins the awards. She's got the top access, but she's kind of been pushing back lately. Heinrich has kind of been pushing back a little bit on Caroline Leavitt. Heinrich has been pushing back a little bit on the Trump administration. So that's why Heinrich got shut down by Trump, but Posobiec didn't. Did you notice that? Posobiec got to answer his gotcha question. He got to have his little gotcha moment. Trump let it go and let Mamdani respond. When Heinrich tried to do it, Trump shut her off, and answered the question for Mamdani. Because Trump is sick of Heinrich, folks. Because Heinrich is pushing back. She's not playing ball with him. And that's why you saw that happen. But that's kind of a little inside baseball. So I'll tell you about the latest. So you have all of the same people on the right going crazy about Mamdani because he said this on Meet the Press this weekend.
In that press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer. Then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, "That's okay. You can just say yes. It's easier than explaining it." So, Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do.
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today. And I think what I appreciated about the conversation that I had with the president was that we were not shy about the places of disagreement, about the politics that has brought us to this moment. And we also wanted to focus on what it could look like to deliver on a shared analysis of an affordability crisis for New Yorkers.
You've also said in the past that President Trump has engaged in a, quote, attack on our democracy. You've called him a despot. Do you still believe President Trump is a threat to the democracy?
Everything that I've said in the past, I continue to believe. And that's the thing that I think is important in our politics, is that we don't shy away from where we have disagreements, but we understand what it is that brings us to that table. Because I'm not coming into the Oval Office to make a point or make a stand. I'm coming in there to deliver for New Yorkers. And a few weeks ago, I was asked by a reporter 3 words to describe myself. I said, New York City. And that's what animated that conversation. How do we deliver for the people of New York City?
So you have the same people, the same reactionaries on the right freaking out. Mamdani calls Trump a fascist again. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, you can have whatever commentary on Mamdani's comments towards Trump. I'm not here to stop you or even necessarily disagree with you. But people tend to not even, the Trump cultists actually tend to not even listen to President Trump. Have you noticed that? The Trump cultists, it's like they don't even actually listen to President Trump. It's like they do, or they think they do, but it's all directional. Like they're not actually paying attention to detail. It's just, hey, what direction does Trump want me to go in? I'll go in blindly. What did Trump say at the White House with Mamdani when Jackie Heinrich asked the question about Trump being a fascist? What did he say? And then he followed it up later, by the way. So he actually said it twice. And he emphasized the exact same point. Trump said, hey, it's politics. It's the campaign trail. You say a lot of nasty things. I did it too. Did you catch that? Let me translate that for you. Basically, what Trump says is, I say things on the campaign trail that I don't mean or that I don't even know about. And so does everybody else. Did you catch that? And he kind of smiled and shrugged it off when Mamdani was in there. Now, keep in mind, this is a President Trump that endorsed Andrew Cuomo. Why? Why did he endorse Andrew Cuomo? Well, we all know why. Because I guess the right-wing Israel lobby decided they would invest in Andrew Cuomo to try to defeat Mamdani. They failed, but Trump went along with it because they fund Trump's campaign too. So he said, all right, I'll attack Mamdani. All right, I'll endorse Cuomo. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. It didn't even come from his head. The lobbyists put him up to it. The lobbyists might even have posted it. So Mamdani comes there, gets asked the question about fascism, and Trump says, hold it right there. Let me answer for you. Things get said on the campaign trail. We hit him hard. I hit him pretty hard. He hits me pretty hard. But the truth is, most of us don't mean it, folks. They just don't. We say things during a campaign. We say things in politics we just don't mean. It's all about campaigns. It's all about elections. It's all politics as usual. So let me answer for you, Zoran. Can I? Yeah. Okay. Listen here. He said it. He didn't mean it. Maybe he did mean it, but it's a tough hit. Okay. It's politics. People say things they don't mean. That's what it is. Starting to get it. Starting to understand. That's why I don't sit here and play the game of the cheap political rhetoric. I don't play the game of the cheap political talking points, the cheap political narrative control, because it's all meaningless. Trump, that's what I'm saying. It's like Trump goes to Israel, says, hey, Marian Adelson runs the whole party. She cares about Israel more than America. There she is right there. Here I am in Israel telling everybody Israel runs everything. There's Marian Adelson. It's like, he said it. He said it. Did you pay attention? He said it. Then we're at the White House. Yeah, we say things on the campaign trail. We say things in politics. We hit each other hard, but we don't really mean it. You just say it. They just say things, folks. It's just political slop. So it's like, okay, Trump says it. You report on it. You get attacked by the Trump cult. Trump says it. You report on it. You get attacked from the Trump cult. So they won't attack President Trump for telling you that the Israel lobby controls the White House and cares more about Israel than America. They won't attack Trump for saying that. They'll attack you for reporting it. They won't attack Trump for saying, hey, don't worry about Mamdani calling me a fascist. We actually get along. We're great. They won't attack Trump for it. But then when you say it, then they attack you for it. Trump is now the protected head of the cult. And he knows it too, by the way. And he's acting as such. I mean, I can't say I blame him. Trump is a politician now. Men face hate crime charges after disrupting USF Muslim prayer, according to court documents. Oh, boy. University of South Florida police have filed hate crime charges against 2 individuals for disrupting a Muslim Student Association prayer gathering in a campus parking garage. The University of South Florida Police Department identified 2 of the 3 suspects, Christopher Svocek and Richard Penskoski, who have been charged with disturbing schools, disorderly conduct, and disrupting a lawful assembly. The men allegedly walked up to the prayer group and begun to wave bacon in the participating student's face, according to the complaint filed by the student section. Gee, didn't somebody else just wave bacon in a bunch of Muslims' face that I covered last week? And I asked who was guilty of the hate crime, but now that person's getting a hate crime investigation in their favor by the DOJ. Remember that one last week? If logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. So congratulations, folks. How does it feel, American Christians? How does that feel? It's honestly insane. It's like, how do you even properly address it? How do you even properly respond to it other than just putting it out there for the people to see? I don't know. But the Middle East politics and Middle East theology is now conquering America. That's what it is. Where's the America First Christian movement? Where's the white Christian America movement? Where's legislation? Where's policy? Where's any of it benefiting the average American? Oh, now, anti-Semitism watch, you're going to jail. Anti-Islam watch, you're getting charged. We're waving bacon in the streets. We're kissing the wall. And then you see what they do with this Nigeria situation. And I'll get to that in a second. But how do you think Europe feels about it? Afghan national attempts raping 12-year-old girl. You see these things all the time happening in Europe. Young girls getting raped by Middle East men, Afghan men, whatever they are, Muslim men, Arab men. And then you have attempted rapes, or you have pedophiles in America. They get flown off to Israel, no charges. They just disappear them to Israel, free of charge. You're now in the Middle East. America is now in the Middle East. And you're in a fight for your future. And it's not a future to benefit Americans. It's not a future that will be in a Christian ideology. It's not a future that will be in a Christian ethos. It'll be a Middle Eastern ethos. You're already seeing it everywhere. And this whole thing about Nigeria, let's give it a little context. This situation has been going on in Nigeria for 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. Persecuting Christians is one aspect of it. The terrorist groups, the terrorist armies, all of these things, these have been going on in Nigeria and Africa at large but specifically in Nigeria for decades. For decades. What has been done about it? Has the U.S. foreign policy done anything about it? Has the U.S. foreign policy done anything to stop it or benefit the victims? No, not a thing. Why not? So now we're supposed to feel bad. We're supposed to feel bad about the Nigerian Christians that are getting slaughtered and kidnapped and raped. And we should. But whatever gets done, it's been going on for 20 years. Why are they doing it? Why do they want you to talk about Christians in Nigeria today? Is it so that we can have a foreign policy that saves them? Is it so that we can have a military intervention that saves them? No, of course not. That's reserved for someone else, not Christians. That's not reserved for Christians. You don't get that benefit. The only reason you're hearing about this now is because the Israel lobby is losing support. And so they want to remind you how much you hate Muslims. The Israeli lobby is losing the support of Christian Americans. So they want to remind Christians that Muslims are your enemy. That's all this is about. They don't care about these Christians. Oh, you disagree? Okay, then you tell me, what foreign policy have we had in the last 20 years since this has been going on to try to save those Christians? What military interventions have we seen to try to save those Christians? Any at all? None. Now, in those same 20 years, how much military intervention have we had in the Middle East? How much military intervention, how much foreign policy have we had in the Middle East to address violent Muslims? About $30 trillion worth. Not to mention the countless lives lost, all the blood and treasure spilled in the Middle East to go after the dirty, bad Muslims there. But none of that in Nigeria. Not a single ounce of that in Nigeria. Don't tell me they care about the Christians. They don't. Because if logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. They don't care about these Christians. They never did. It's only reminding you Christians in the West that you hate Muslims so that you'll continue your bad, low approval rating foreign policy in the Middle East to benefit Israel. That's all this is about. But I'll tell you this. If they do decide, because they might be forced to, if they do decide to inject into Nigeria, by the way, where's the IDF? The IDF could go in there and save these Christians. Show us how much you care about the Christians in the IDF. I want to see the IDF go into Nigeria and save the Christians. They won't. Of course they won't. They won't even go into the Gaza Strip to save their own. They just blow the whole thing up. So don't give me that crap. And if they do decide to go into Nigeria, know this. They're only doing it because they want the rare earth minerals that big tech needs for their quantum computing and their AI data centers. And that's it. So just know that. So just know this has been happening to Christians in Nigeria and many other innocent people, by the way. This has been happening to all these people in Nigeria for 20 years, and there has been no foreign policy and no military intervention in there because they really don't care. While we spent $30 trillion in the Middle East. And just know that if they do decide they're going into Nigeria, it's to get the rare earth minerals that the tech industry needs for quantum computing and AI data centers. And that's it. So just know that. Just so you can be ahead of the curve on that when that drops next too. Just keeping you ahead of the curve. All right, did you see now on X they have the country of origin, a publicly available thing now? Which who knows how accurate it is? I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't put much faith in it anyway. And it's kind of already proven my theory that there's people from all over the world taking all different kind of stances. So it's like there's people from all over the world trying to get you to hate Israel. There's people from all over the world trying to get you to love Israel. It's all propaganda, folks. So to me, it's kind of a big nothing burger. I mean, I can't say it's a nothing burger because it's definitely a human interest story and it's definitely a real phenomenon. But to me, it's like if you're going to have a problem with foreign influence on social media, but not a problem with foreign influence on your government policies, then I'm sorry, you're just a fraud. You're just a phony. So you saw this. We're going to hit a couple different reports here. The Jerusalem Post. X location features reveals origin of anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, and Gaza scam accounts. Now let's try to quantify this for a second. Anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, Gaza scam accounts. So, first of all, this goes both ways. There are accounts all over the world that have been seen posting pro-Israel stuff. There's accounts all over the world posting anti-Israel stuff, throw in Gaza, throw in anti-Semitism, whatever. It's all over the world, all different angles. This is not a one-way street. This is not a mutually inclusive phenomenon towards one cause or one issue. It's all over the world. It's omnidirectional. And my theory, which has now been proven, and I told this to Viva Free, I told this to Ezra Levant, and I noticed Ezra is actually reposting these now. Yesterday, he was reposting these now. And I told him, when we were having the Israel debate, I said, I think there are accounts all over the world that pretend to be pro-Israel that are actually meant to make you hate Israel more. Like, an example would be they share a video of the Gaza Strip completely demolished, and they say, yes, Israel is winning, not enough dead. Something along those lines. We've all seen it. And then we just assume, oh, that's a Jewish person, or, oh, that's an Israeli Jew or an American Jew celebrating death and destruction. And really, it's some Indian or some Pakistani or who knows where. And they're pretending to be pro-Israel in the most vicious, despicable way to get people to hate Israel. So that got proven. So my point is that this is not a mutually exclusive phenomenon that only goes one direction on one issue. This is omnidirectional. It's every single issue. So to me, this is mostly a nothing burger. It's a human interest thing. If you want to dig into it, you can dig into it. But I don't think it really changes anything, quite frankly. I don't really think there is any there. To me, we're still in the right exact same spot that we were in the begin with. Okay. And Mark Mitchell kind of saying the same thing. Obviously, there will never be any way to quantify any of this. Exactly. Because it's everywhere in all directions. So people are trying to make it into their own thing. Josie, the redheaded libertarian, steps in. She says, the Israeli press is concerned that foreign actors are involving themselves in political movements. Boy, that's familiar, isn't it? The Israeli press is concerned that foreign actors are involving themselves in political movements. Let's see. Foreign influence in American politics. Foreign influence in American foreign policy. Foreign influence. Where would that be? I don't know. So again, as I say, if you have a problem with foreign influence on social media, but not foreign influence in your government, yeah, you got a problem, all right. You definitely got a problem. What is going on in Venezuela? Did you guys see this from over the weekend in Caracas? You have Maduro dancing to some new song, I guess it's popular, Peace, No War. Do we have audio on this? Is he like, it's like a Trump dance? All right. So you have Maduro, I guess, doing his version of the Trump dance to a song called No War. No War, Only Peace, or something like that, that's going popular right now. You hate to simplify these things because they are obviously more complex. But at a certain level, you kind of have to just say what it is. Maduro is not controlled by the globalist syndicate. Just like Saddam Hussein was not controlled by the globalist syndicate. Just like Gaddafi was not controlled by the globalist syndicate. Just like Putin is not controlled by the globalist syndicate. Now, this is no endorsement of any of these names, but there's a common thread here in case you haven't figured it out. You're either controlled by the central bank global syndicate or the central bank controlled global syndicate governments are going to try to have you removed from power or kill you. So that's no endorsement of Maduro. It's no endorsement of Putin, but that's what it is. Those are leaders who want to represent their country and don't want to be controlled by the global central bank, central government. So that's why the regime change wars are on against them. That's why they want Putin out. That's why they want Maduro out. That's why they wanted Gaddafi out and killed him. That's why they wanted Saddam Hussein out and killed him. That's why they wanted Bashar al-Assad out. So they toppled him. It's the same story, folks. These people are going for global dominance. And Trump used to be standing in their way. But something happened. And now Trump is not in their way anymore. Same thing with Bolsonaro. You know, this is actually really sad from Trump, I have to tell you. The fact that Trump has not tried to intervene, has he even said anything? Brazil's ex-president Bolsonaro arrested to prevent attempted escape. So he's going to be in jail probably the rest of his life now. Former Brazilian President Bolsonaro was arrested on Saturday over concerns he was plotting to escape his house arrest. Now, they're claiming he tried to get rid of his ankle bracelet, and maybe that's true. So they arrested him in the capital of Brazil, Brasilia, just days before he was due to begin his prison sentence for leading a coup attempt. He's the president leading a coup attempt. It's January 6th, but in Brazil. This would be like if the Democrats were going to arrest President Trump. That's what this is like. The difference is Trump won the election, and we don't have communists as bad as the Brazilians do. So now Bolsonaro is likely in jail for the rest of his life for trying to save Brazil from communism. Has Trump said anything about this? After everything Bolsonaro did with Trump, after all of the support, after the mutual friendship, all of Bolsonaro's family, Bolsonaro trying to be the Brazilian Trump, has Trump said anything in support of Bolsonaro today? I haven't seen it. I'm almost mind blown, but I don't believe he has. So that's pathetic. That's just, honestly, at the end of the day, that's going to end up being Trump's legacy. Sad but true. Bolsonaro fought for Trump. Bolsonaro fought for Trump. And Trump is mostly silent. Trump should be louder about what's happening to Bolsonaro in Brazil than anything else right now. And he's barely provided a comment. He provided a comment in passing before getting on Marine Force One this weekend. And I think that's all I can see. He wrote a post about it about a month or so ago. He wrote a post about it. But that's it. Trump should be doing a nationally televised press conference on what's being done to Bolsonaro, and he should say, this is what they tried to do to me. But I was actually allowed to run for the election again while they're going to force Bolsonaro into prison and try to stop him from running. Trump not being louder in support of Bolsonaro is the story of this administration. The people that fought hardest for Trump, the people that stuck their neck out there for Trump, those are the people being ignored and scoffed at and forgotten now by this administration. Meanwhile, the people that hated Trump, the people that campaigned against Trump, the people that told you to never vote for Trump, now they're being ingratiated. Now they're running things. People tend to mistake news from opinion. Nothing I just said is an opinion. Everything I just said is factually accurate. The opinion would be whether I like it or not. I don't like it. That's my opinion. But it is a fact that President Trump has abandoned his most committed, ardent supporters for the people that told you to never vote for him. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fact. And the fact that President Trump is virtually ignoring the plight of Bolsonaro, who stuck up for Trump for years and stuck up for Trump when they stole the election from him, and Bolsonaro virtually forgotten by Trump. Meanwhile, Netanyahu, who congratulated Biden an hour after they stole the election for him, Netanyahu congratulated Biden, never said anything about the stolen election. He was all in for Biden immediately. and that's who Trump is going to support. He's going to write a letter to try to get him out of his criminal case. He's going to try to get him pardoned in Israel. He's going to try to get the international court off his back. So Trump doing everything to help Netanyahu, and who abandoned Trump immediately after they stole it for Biden. Netanyahu abandoned Trump immediately. And Trump's doing everything for Netanyahu. Bolsonaro, who stood by Trump, side by side with Trump every single day. And Trump's abandoning him and supporting Netanyahu. That's this administration in a nutshell right there. That's the legacy of this administration in a nutshell right there. And if Trump doesn't change things, that will be Trump's legacy as well. A total sellout. And I hope that's not the case. It's like part of it is so unbelievable, you can't even believe that that would be the case. Part of it is so unreal that you think, no, Trump's got to turn this around, right? Trump's got to have a bait and switch. Trump's got to have a pivotal moment, right? Like, it can't be this. That's not who Trump is, right? No way. But that's where it's going. That's where it's at right now. It's not my opinion. That's a fact. It's like, it's so unreal. You don't even want to believe it. You can't even believe it. But we're living through it. We're witnessing it. And so to get back to the original story. So I don't know. It's like, why would there be an account in Israel called F Everything Israel? Is that because there's people in Israel that don't like Netanyahu? Just like there's people in America that don't like Trump. In fact, Netanyahu is, you could argue, about as popular as Trump in Israel right now. Neither one very popular overall. Trump might be more popular than Netanyahu now. I don't know. So is this an account in Israel meant to drive up hatred of Israel so that they can press for anti-Semitism laws? Why would there be an account based in Israel that's all about attacking Israel and attacking Jews? Is that to drive anti-Semitism so that then they can pass anti-Semitism legislation and censor free speech and make sure that Israel is always the most protected nation in the world with your tax dollars and the American people's blood, sweat, and tears? Or is this an organic account that popped up in Israel last year because they genuinely don't like what's going on in their country and don't like Netanyahu? I could see it either way. But that's what's going on. Trump also commented on the situation developing in Ukraine with the peace talks over the weekend. Trump said this.
No, we'd like to get to peace. It should have happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened. If I were president, it never would have happened. We're trying to get it ended. One way or the other, we have to get it ended. So well, then he can continue to fight his little heart out. No, not much.
All right. So that's what I said last week. It looks like my analysis of Trump's take on this was right. I said, I think this is Trump's last effort. And if Zelensky doesn't take the deal, then he's out. He's going to say, good luck, Zelensky, you're on your own. Well, it looks like I was right on that based off of what Trump just said there. So there you have it. And so I'm wondering, as I'm watching Fox News earlier today, and Mike Pompeo comes out of nowhere supporting Ukraine. Who was it that had him on there? One of the blonde babes up there. I think it was Marsha McCallum, one of Fox's blonde babes. And so Mike Pompeo out of nowhere, I haven't seen this guy on media. Like, what? Where did he come from? So Mike Pompeo out of nowhere supporting Ukraine on Fox News today. I mean, vehemently supporting Ukraine. It's like, oh, Ukraine's about to lose our support. And so here's Pompeo to try to prop it up again. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Why is Pompeo popping up on Fox News to try to prop up our support for Ukraine again? Well, go figure. Grok says this. Mike Pompeo joined the advisory board of Firepoint, a Ukrainian defense company producing long-range drones and missiles, on November 12th, 2025. While specific compensation details aren't public, advisory roles like this typically involve financial arrangements. The firm has faced scrutiny over contracts but denies wrongdoing. Oh. So Ukraine, knowing they're losing public support, knowing they might even lose legislative support, brings on Mike Pompeo to be a voice in the U.S. media, to be a voice in the West. And right as Trump is signaling that this is the last chance for Ukraine to get out of this deal alive, this is my last shot of trying to get a peace deal done or we're pulling all support, Pompeo pops up on Fox News telling everybody how important it is to support Ukraine. Oh, isn't that amazing? Remember, this is the same Mike Pompeo who admitted that they train at the CIA in deception, that they train in deception and false flags and everything else. He said that. Isn't that amazing? So I guess Pompeo is now working for Ukraine. How else am I supposed to interpret that? I'm telling you, I knew there was something up when Pompeo was so avidly supporting Ukraine and urging the United States to continue supporting Ukraine. I said, this is weird. Oh, he couldn't be on the advisory board of a Ukrainian defense company now that just started a week or two ago. Oh, no. Do you see how corrupt it all is, folks? It's all so corrupt. So I knew that wasn't a coincidence. I knew that there had to be something behind that development.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
No one can stop this. 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 No one can stop this.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right, we are in the third and final hour of today's Owen Report. Still a lot of news to get to. But I think we're going to be able to get to all of it today before we sign off I'm not sure we're going to have time for phone calls, but I think we can get through all the news. We'll see if we can't do it all. We'll see if we can't do it all. All right. So back to this issue in Nigeria. And I'll just say this about David Kate. Obviously, he's very pro-Israel in his political commentary. But in fairness, I like David because he engages in political debate and disagreement in good faith. He usually keeps things above the belt, and you can still disagree with him and walk away without feeling like there's some sort of visceral hatred between you two. So to that, I do salute David. But with his response to my post from earlier today, I want to use David as a case analysis for something involved in political psychology. And I feel like I need to do like a dedicated segment to this now. Should I do like a dedicated political psychology segment to explain the psychology of American politics? Because nobody's really doing that. But I just so happen to have a degree in psychology. And so it's like, maybe I can use that here. So I post this about Nigeria. It's basically what I said, how the only reason you're hearing about Nigeria is to support the Israeli cause. It's not, these things are not coincidental. Okay. So anyway, so David responds. He said, Owen should look into the Muslim Brotherhood a tiny bit before posting garbage like this. Both are important. Both are being focused on and worked on. So what's the insinuation? I should look into the Muslim Brotherhood a tiny bit. I'm not providing any opinion on the Muslim Brotherhood here. In fact, do you even see me mention the Muslim Brotherhood? My post was just showing all the different posts from this weekend and today about the Christians in Nigeria, including from American journalist Pamela Geller, who has an Israel flag in her bio, for what it's worth. All I said was, for months you've been hearing about Nigeria. What is being done to actually help those Christians? Nothing, because no one spends $100 million in D.C. in their interests. You know what will be done? Muslims designated as terrorists in the United States because that's what donors want. Now, again, where do I provide any opinion on the Muslim Brotherhood in that post? Where? I don't. It's not there. It is simply not there. I make a post suggesting, with evidence, that the only reason you're hearing about Nigeria now is because the Israel lobby donors want to remind American Christians that Muslims are their enemy. So as Israel is losing support from American Christians, they want to remind you, hey, no, Muslims are your enemy. And so they're using Nigeria to play that. And my final case in point is that because Nigeria doesn't spend $100 million in American politics, because there's no Nigerian American political action committee that spends $100 million on every single candidate across the board, there will not be intervention. There will not be intervention in Nigeria, and nobody's going to come to save those Christians. And that's why nobody has for 20 years. It's all just political rhetoric from the lobbyists to keep you hating Muslims and remind American Christians that Muslims are the one you hate as the Israeli lobby is losing massive support. So in no way, shape, or form do I didn't even say Muslim Brotherhood, and in no way, shape, or form do I show any opinion on the Muslim Brotherhood. This is about how whoever spends money in D.C. gets political results. And to people who don't spend money in D.C., you get nothing. That's all it's about. So David says, I should look into the Muslim Brotherhood before posting garbage like this. Both are important. Both are being what's focused on and worked on. David, where did I even mention the Muslim Brotherhood in my post? If you can show me anywhere in my post where I give an opinion on the Muslim Brotherhood, then I'll hear you out and I'll respond to that. Both are being focused and worked on. What? Both what? What are you talking about? Both what? Christians have been being slaughtered in Nigeria. Christians have been 20,000 plus. How many Christians have been slaughtered in Nigeria in the last 20 years? How much military intervention have we had? None. What do you mean both are being focused and worked on? Show me any military intervention in Nigeria on behalf of Christians. Show me any. There's been zero. So what are you talking about? This is all about who spends $100 million in Washington, D.C. If there was a Nigeria Christian American Political Action Committee, then we'd have military in Nigeria saving those people right now. But there isn't. So we don't. But now there's two lobbying groups that want us to look at Nigeria. There's the Israeli lobby group that wants to remind American Christians that they hate Muslims. And there's the big tech lobbying group that wants to move into Nigeria to secure the rare earth minerals for their quantum computing and their AI data centers. So now we're hearing about it because there's money involved. That's all it is. That was my point. And there's nothing you can say that proves me wrong. And you responded to a comment that I never even made. So what's the political psychology here? The political psychology, in my eyes, is that David knows I'm right, and that David knows that I make an extremely powerful point and case. So what David has to do is he has to defend something that I never even attacked, or he has to attack something that I never even defended. Because David's main thrust right now is to keep support for Israel strong. We disagree in that case. So instead of responding to what I said, he responds to something that I never said. Because that's what this is all about. It's all about distracting you from what we are all focusing on. It's all about distracting you from what we're all noticing right now when it comes to foreign interest and foreign lobbying and foreign wars. And it's all about distracting you. Muslim Brotherhood, Muslims in Nigeria. So this is a perfect case and point in political psychology. Losing the debate, can't address the actual points being made, so they scream Muslim, Muslim, Muslim in your face again, hoping that it works as a debate tactic. But it doesn't, David, and you know that. So what about Israeli journalist Gideon Levy? You ever heard of this guy? Probably not. In fact, you're not even allowed to hear about this guy if you live in America. In fact, maybe pray for this guy's life, quite frankly. Listen to Israeli journalist, let's get his name right here, Gideon Levy. Israeli journalist Gideon Levy, who you're not allowed to see if you live in the United States of America. You're not allowed to hear from this man if you live in the United States of America, and you'll find out why pretty quick.
If we are the chosen people, who are you to tell us what to do? Who are you? Who is the international community to tell Israel what to do? International law? Oh, wonderful thing. It doesn't apply on us. It applies on any other place on earth, not on Israel. Because we are the chosen people. Don't you understand it? The second very deep-rooted value is obviously the value of we, the victims, not only the biggest victims, but the only victims around. I know many occupations which were longer than Israeli occupation, than the Israeli occupation. Some were even more brutal, even though it's getting harder and harder to be more brutal than the Israeli occupation. I don't recall one occupation in which the occupier present himself as the victim. Not only the victim, the only victim. If to phrase here, if to quote here the late Golda Meir, whom I quoted also last time, I know, but it is so unforgettable I have to use it again. She once said that we will never forgive the Arabs for forcing us to kill their children. We are the victims. We are forced to kill their children. Poor us. And as the victim and the only victim in history, again, it enables us the rights to do whatever we want, and nobody is going to tell us what to do because we are the only victims. To this, there is a third very deep-rooted value, and this is the very deep belief. Again, everyone will deny it, but if you scratch under the skin of almost every Israeli, you'll find it there. The Palestinians are not equal human beings like us. They are not like us. They don't love their children like us. They don't love life like us. They were born to kill. They are cruel. They are sadists. They have no values, no manners. Look how they kill us. This is very, very deep-rooted in Israeli society, and maybe that's the key issue. Because as long as this continues, nothing will move. As long as most of the Israelis don't perceive the Palestinians as equal human beings, we are so much better than them. We are so much developed than them. And we are so much human than them. As long as this is the case, all our dreams, and we have some dreams, and I'll get to them, all our dreams will never become true as long as this core issue will not change.
Wasn't there something in the founding documents of the United States of America about all men are created equal? Do all religions agree to that? What about the Christian doctrine? Something about Jesus Christ, that all men are created equal too. Let's talk political psychology again. I want you to listen to what Levy says here, and then I'm going to respond to it with a little more American, let's say, from the American perspective, not the Israeli perspective here that Levy is talking about, but the political psychology from the American perspective. Listen to what he says.
We are the victims. We are forced to kill their children. Poor us. And as the victim and the only victim in history, again, it enables us the rights to do whatever we want, and nobody is going to tell us what to do because we are the only victims.
Okay. Now let me respond to that and explain the psychological element of what he's talking about. Why do you think you have the Holocaust beaten over your head for your entire life as an American? Because they have to keep that psychology going. This is the biggest victim group. And now our foreign policy is basically dictated from this group on the other side of the planet because of the Holocaust being the worst thing in the history of the world, which, by the way, 80 million white Christians died defeating the Nazis. 80 million white Christians died fighting the Nazis. Most of them were Russian. But you don't hear about that. No, the Holocaust was the worst thing ever, and so therefore somebody's the biggest victim ever, and so therefore in the victim economy that we live in now, the politically correct victim economy, they get the final say. Then you have the trauma-based mind control. And this is where, quite frankly, Israeli Jews and maybe American Jews are the most victimized. They're put under the trauma-based mind control. They're put under the trauma-based mind control that the Holocaust could happen again tomorrow. They're put on the trauma-based mind control that everybody hates them and everybody is out to get them. And so that spurs this new psychology to almost a derangement that the survival instinct is basically peaked. And so anything and everything you do is based on survival. So if you have to kill kids, you have to kill innocent women and children, it's all your survival instinct. It's all been baked into you because of the trauma-based mind control. And then nobody's supposed to say anything else because of the Holocaust. See how that works? That's where we're at. And that's why you never hear from Gideon Levy in the United States of America, because you'll never hear from him because it goes against the entire political psychology of our foreign policy. And it goes against the entire philosophy of America's founding documents and the Christian doctrine. But yet, how could you disagree with anything he just said? You can't. So what do? You call him an anti-Semite. Well, wait, you can't do that. He's Jewish. So what do? You just make sure nobody ever hears of him. That could mean a couple things, couldn't it? That could mean a couple things. Let's see. What was our greatest ally up to over the weekend? Oh, how's that peace deal going? How's the ceasefire going? Hell, it's not. 20 killed in Israeli strikes as Israel and Hamas trade blame over the truce. Well, Israel is killing people in Palestine. Hamas is not killing anybody. So, okay. So Israel continues to kill. They've killed more than 300 people since the ceasefire. Israel launches strikes in Gaza. In Gaza ceasefire's latest test, as hospitals say 24 killed. So more death at the hands of the Israelis over this weekend. But nobody mentioning how they are violating the ceasefire because they can do whatever they want, just as Levy said. Israel says Hezbollah chief of staff killed in first strike on Beirut in months. Israel bombed Beirut. Israel was bombing Lebanon over the weekend. Did you hear about that? 5 people were killed, 28 injured. Another Israeli strike on Lebanon. Yeah. It's your greatest ally. And they wouldn't be allowed to engage in all the death and destruction if it wasn't for the support of the United States of America. What you have to wonder, is the support in the United States of America because they buy support? Is the support from the United States of America because they blackmail support? It's obviously not for moral reasons anymore. The moral reasons are all gone. So is it blackmail? Is it bought and paid for? You got to wonder. But all the polls indicate it's going south. And that's why things are going to get worse, folks. That's why I think this is going to get worse. when you talk about the psychology of it, the trauma-based mind control, the victim mindset, survival instinct mindset because of it, it's just going to get even more irrational. It's just going to get even more erratic. It's just going to get even more violent. Election Wizard here, who just does polling, shares polling data. 10 years ago, sympathizing with Palestinians would have ended careers. Today, it's quickly becoming the default take for everyone under 50. Yeah, it used to be 30, and then it was 40, and now it's 50. That's how fast this thing is sliding. The only demographic besides the influencers still holding the line is boomers, and even they're starting to crack in many polls. Now, every once in a while, you may see a viral video, featuring me, and there's a couple of them, where I talk about how very soon Israel will have no support in the West. Folks, those videos are from years ago. There's only like one video that gets shared and goes viral where I had Greg Locke in studio, and I told him, I told Pastor Locke, who travels to Israel, I don't know how many times. I think he spends more time in Israel than America these days. I don't know. But he's there a lot. And I think he said he would move there, if I recall the clip. But the clip is, I warned him. I said that Israel will lose all support from America within just a couple election cycles. And now all the poll numbers are proving me right. Most of those videos where you see me saying that Israel is going to lose all support from America, most of those videos are from a year or more ago, folks. That's how long I've been warning of this. So when you hear me talking about an election cycle, we're now in that election cycle. So before 2024, when I said Israel would start losing support of Americans in 2 election cycles, we're now in the 2026 election cycle where I warned it would happen. See how it goes? See where we're at? Now, here's the polls. Do you sympathize more with Israel or Palestine? This is Republicans aged 18 to 29. 33% say Palestine. 28% say Israel. All respondents. Democrats plus 13 for Palestine. Republicans plus 35 for Israel. All plus 8 for Israel. So that means it's going down fast. This number for all would have probably been closer to 30 plus 30 just 10 years ago. Now it's down to plus 8. And in 2 short years, it'll be at 0 or it'll be plus for Palestine. But in response to this, Israel isn't backing off. Israel isn't pumping the brakes. They're putting the pedal to the metal. They're bombing more country. They're killing more people because they don't know what else to do, because of the trauma-based mind control, because of the victim mindset, survival instinct reaction. They don't know any other response. They're the biggest victims. They're always the victims. They're the chosen people. They'll always be the chosen people. So everyone else is wrong. Geez, our polling numbers are sinking because we keep bombing people. Bomb more people. Gee, our polling numbers in the United States are sinking because of our intimidation tactics and our buying up all of Congress. Buy more Congress. Intimidate more. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. And then I feel bad. What happens to Israel then? What happens to Israel when they lose all support from America? What would have happened to Israel if America didn't step in and bomb Iran just a couple months ago? What would have happened? What would have happened to Israel if America didn't resupply them with defense missiles? Just this year, Israel was almost out of defense missiles after the barrage from Iran. What do you think would have happened to Israel if America did not give them the defense missiles that they need, did not give them the military support, the financial support that they need? What do you think would have happened? I don't want that to happen. I don't hate the Israeli people. I think the Israeli people are under a corrupt government just like the American people are under a corrupt government. I should be allowed to criticize Israel's government just as I'm allowed to criticize America's government without dealing with the threats and the intimidation and the name calling and the bullying. I can't, but that's the reality. What do you think happens? What do you think happens? Doesn't make me feel good. I don't even want to answer that because I think we all know what happens. I don't want to see that happen. But it seems that the powers that be, Netanyahu, the major Israeli lobbyists, I don't know if they just don't see it or if they just don't care. I don't know. I can't, other than just to see what they do and report on it, I can't understand what goes on in their minds. I can't understand if they have absolutely no foresight at all. What are you going to do? If Netanyahu, if the current regime can't come to peace with all of their neighbors, which, by the way, they're bombing all of them. Israel's bombed like 9 countries in the last 24 months. So they're not trying for peace. They're making enemies out of all their neighbors. What do you think happens if you lose support of the United States of America? If you no longer get the financial aid? If you no longer get the military aid? What do you think happens? Do you really think you're just going to be able to buy up loyalty to Israel for the rest of your lives? You're not. Can you even fathom that? Do you even care? Are you even thinking about it? Do you even think about the Israeli people that are going to suffer because of this? Do you even care about the Israeli people that were hiding in bunkers for weeks when they were getting bombed by Iran? The Israel economy that was shut down when this was going on? The hundreds of thousands of Israeli Jews that are fleeing the country because they don't feel safe? Do you even care about them? Or are you just so bloodlusting? Are you just so drunk on the blood of the innocents that none of this even comes to your head now because you just think you're invincible? Well, the poll numbers indicate you're not. And I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to buy U.S. politicians forever. Eventually, they will turn down your money. When it becomes a political death sentence to take money from the Israeli lobby, they won't take your money anymore. And you're 2 election cycles away from that. So I would suggest if you care about Israel and you care about Israeli Jews, that you find a way to make peace with your neighbors. And if Netanyahu is the one standing in the way of that peace, and he's canceling elections to make sure he can stand in the way of that peace, then it's not going to be good. Just like what do you think is going to happen when America removes its support from Ukraine? It's going to lose all support. Russia's going to take it over. Well, what do you think is going to happen when America loses its support for Israel? It's going to be a very similar outcome. But the truth is, Americans are sick of it. Americans are sick of footing the bill for a foreign country's interests. Americans are sick of footing the bill to protect a foreign country. And it might be one thing if every American lived in a nice house with a pool in the backyard and a barbecue on Saturday, and the average American wasn't knee or neck deep in debt, then maybe you could get away with this. But that's not the case now. Americans are struggling. They don't want to hear about a foreign country's plight anymore. They don't want to hear about the military supporting a foreign country anymore. We're done. We got our own problems, folks. So you can either solve America's problems first, and then maybe you can continue with the foreign aid. But unless you solve America's problems first, the foreign aid is going to be it. It's going to be over. The military aid, it's going to be done. And then what are you going to do? And this is why you screwed it all up. This is why this administration screwed it all up. You had to destroy the left politically, and you had to arrest the deep state before this fracture in the right happened over foreign policy. But you didn't do it. Now you have the fracture in foreign policy. The deep state lives on. The Democrat Party is now getting ready for a victory in the midterms. You blew it. You blew it. You let the big donors made you prioritize foreign policy over arresting the deep state and destroying the Democrat Party politically. And so now you're screwed. Now you're screwed. So you're going to have a little window of time here and then it's over. I can't believe, I just, it's like, does nobody, and maybe they just don't care because it's all about money. How could you not have seen this coming? How could you not have seen this coming? So now it's like, all right, Israel, you better prioritize peace with your neighbors now. You better prioritize peace with your neighbors because eventually you're going to lose the support of America. And if you don't prioritize peace with your neighbors first, it's going to get way worse. It's going to get way worse. And this is why I don't understand all the Israeli lobbyists This is why I don't understand all the Israeli supporters in America not understanding this. If you care about Israel, if you do generally care and love Israel, then you better realize everything that you're doing right now is hurting your cause. Everything you're doing is hurting your cause right now. But we tried to warn you. Just like we tried to warn you this day would come, just like we warned you that the Comey and James case was going to get spiked. You know, we just keep warning you. You just keep ignoring it. But hey, we'll designate the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization. See how that improves anything. And then Mike Huckabee again this weekend. Mike Huckabee again this weekend. If we don't stand with the Jewish people, then one day they're going to come after us too. Sounds like a threat, doesn't it? And we keep hearing it too. We teased this earlier. Tell me if this sounds like a problem. Tell me if you don't like the sound of this. The 9/11 Victims Fund going towards victims of October 7th? It can't be.
I want to know why October 7th victims are in my Congress, lobbying Congress and writing legislation that harms the rights of 9/11 widows and children. They're writing legislation to change this government fund that's supposed to be for American victims of terrorism.
From September the 11th to October the 7th.
Why are you in my Congress? And
foreigners will get some of this money now?
Well, they're dual citizens and they're trying to expand the laws. I don't know much about Israeli Congress or their laws, but why aren't they in Israel lobbying their Congress? Why aren't they in Israel using Israel's judicial
Why would the United States taxpayer pay the victims of October 7th?
If you want to be compensated, that's fine, but don't harm the rights of the widows and kids. I want to know why October 7th victims.
Yeah, don't be surprised if you hear more about that in the near future. And again, I don't take anything personally in politics, so let's just make this perfectly clear. This is not about me. This is not about me. This is just being able to neutrally observe and report, which seems to be ever more rare in American politics. Why is it that there hasn't been some major January 6th victim ceremony at the White House? There's been multiple for victims of October 7th. All right, fine. But that's a foreign country. We had nothing to do with that. That's a foreign country. Those are foreigners. All right. Our heart breaks. Horrible, horrific attack that day. All right. Why has there been no ceremony, no celebration, no round of applause, no awards, no nothing given to the victims of January 6th? Say, oh, but the treatment on October 7th was worse. Again, I'm not arguing about what happened on October 7th here, but that was not our country. Those are not our people. And by the way, yes, victims of the January 6th political persecution actually were tortured too. They were starved. They were beaten. They were tortured. They were thrown in solitary. Maybe the answer to that question gives you the answer to some other questions. Now listen to this. This is ironic coming from libs of TikTok who didn't support Trump until it looks like 2021 by our best measurements. But they know real MAGA. They dictate real MAGA. They weren't there, but now they seem to know what real MAGA is. So they're taking this clip of a leftist and Antifa and saying, see, this is how violent the left is, which we already reached that conclusion. There's no breaking news here. But listen to this in the context of this and then see where it applies today.
Deserve to die. They have no human rights. It's like calling someone a Nazi or a fascist. It's a way to just dehumanize them. You can do whatever to them. You can assault them. It's funny to them. They laugh about it.
What does that sound like? Calling someone a Nazi so you can torment them. Calling somebody a Nazi so you can abuse them. Calling somebody a Nazi to dehumanize them so anything you say against them is now fair game. What does that sound like today? Does that sound like it's coming from the left or the right today? I'll leave it at that. I got other things I want to cover here. We're almost running out of time. Edward Snowden, you might want to listen. You might want to listen to what Edward Snowden says, because it's all happening here now, folks.
What they call the social credit system. If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, right now. Our devices are casting all of these records that we do not see being created, that in aggregate seem very innocent. You were at Starbucks at this time. You went to the hospital afterwards. You spent a long time at the hospital. After you left the hospital, you made a phone call. You made a phone call to your mother. You talked to her until the middle of the night. The hospital was an oncology clinic. Even if you can't see the content of these communications, the activity records, what the government calls metadata, which they argue they do not need a warrant to collect, tells the whole story. And these activity records are being created and shared and collected and intercepted constantly by companies and governments. And ultimately, it means as they sell these, as they trade these, as they make their businesses on the backs of these records, what they are selling is not information. What they are selling is us. They're selling our future. They're selling our past. They are selling our history, our identity, and ultimately they are stealing our power and making our stories work for them.
You know, it's funny. Edward Snowden has to warn about the coming AI surveillance state in the U.S. from the comfort and safety of Russia. Isn't that ironic? I find it ironic. But he's right. And it's the Trump administration bringing it in and cementing it, by the way. Like it or not, that's the truth. All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's running for the governor of Ohio. And, Vivek, he gets a lot of trouble, I guess, because he's not wide enough for some people on the right. It is what it is. And you know what? Maybe not all of his policies equate to mainstream conservatism. But I've always liked Vivek. I've always liked what he has to say. I don't agree with everything, or maybe sometimes the way he says things. Like when he made the Saved by the Bell quote, that was a little off base. I got what he was trying to say, but it was bad communication. But nonetheless, he did it. But I actually like Vivek. I like that he's young, and I like that he is at least open-minded enough to know you have to talk to people you disagree with. And he understands the human psychology that, sometimes if you want to call off the dogs, you got to actually meet them face to face. Sometimes if you want to calm the dogs down and you want to stop the bark and stop the bite, you just got to go out there. You got to pet them on the head. You got to see if they're willing to have a handshake. Vivek is great at this. So he's at an event where a bunch of protesters show up that don't like him. And as he always does, he goes out and he talks to them. Go figure. It goes like this.
If you do get in as governor,
we are in this to lead not just the people who agree with us, but the people who don't. And you have my word on that. All right?
Well, I hope you
thank you, Betsy.
support the people who maybe didn't
support,
vote for you.
We support equally those who donate to me or vote for me, equally to those who don't. We're in this to one Ohio mentality. All right? I like they call it the United States of America for a reason. E pluribus unum means from many one. You got it. All right? Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I like that. I like that a lot from Vivek. And you know what? I think he's genuine. I think a lot of people maybe don't trust that it's genuine. And maybe that's where some of this angst or resentment comes from. And it's hard to trust anybody in politics. I don't blame them. How can you trust anybody in politics? It's the most corrupt world there is. It's disgusting. It's despicable. But I think Vivek comes from a genuine place. I do. And I think that that's why sometimes you end up stepping in it. When you're genuine like that, sometimes you do end up stepping in your own turd. But you know, I really respect that from Vivek to go out there. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to go out there and shake their hand. He doesn't have to go out there and talk to them. He doesn't need it. It doesn't really provide him any value of any sort, any inherent value. I think he does that because he cares. I think he does it because he cares. And I think he does it because he sees the radical divide and he wants to at least calm the temperature and maybe put the materials out there that, hey, you can build a bridge. You can build a bridge. I like that from Vivek. I like that from Vivek. And Vivek, of course, stood up for me during my political imprisonment. Vivek stood up for me as a speech prisoner, so I'll never forget that either. Full transparency. That will always mean something. So you can't blame me for that. Maybe I'm a little biased because of that. But I'll never forget that. And, you know, I got nothing but some odds and ends left here. I'm pretty sure it's nothing but odds and ends. I don't know how heavy some of them are. But, you know, I'll just say this, too. To talk about how the administration has you know, done more to raise awareness for the victims of October 7th than they have for the victims of January 6th. I already hear the people screaming in response to that. Just calm down. You just relax. Just relax, you know? You guys just you guys have like political ADHD or something. It's like, can you just calm down? Do you disagree? Say, well, Trump pardoned them. Well, not all of them are pardoned. Some of them are still in jail. But that was an American event. Those are American political prisoners that stuck their neck out there and sacrificed for Donald Trump. And as gruesome as the victims of October 7th reality is, it's a foreign country. Those are foreigners. And this administration has done more for them than January 6ers. I don't take anything in politics personally. It's not even about me. That's just an observation. Let's just be clear. That is just an observation. But I you know, as I'm watching the news today, it's a not so subtle reminder of everything that's wrong with right-wing politics. You know, they use you. If you're a freedom fighter, if you're a patriot, if you're somebody that sticks your neck out there, they use you. They use you when they're on the losing side of the ledger. Then they use you. But then as soon as they get on the winning side of the ledger and into power, they want nothing to do with you. They throw you away. And it was a back-to-back, not so subtle reminder of that. When I saw Mike Pompeo on Fox News, and then I saw some blonde bimbo who I'm sure she's nice. Okay. I'm sure she's a really nice girl. I don't even remember her name. That's how insignificant she is. She's never left a podcast studio. She's a cute blonde bimbo that's never left the podcast studio. And she gets the call to Fox News to go on the show and talk about the state of MAGA and the state of conservatism. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I've never even heard of this girl. She's never left her podcast studio. How is she going to tell me about the state of MAGA? Where was she in 2016? Where was she in 2020? Nobody knows. Nobody's heard of this girl. But hey, she's a cute blonde. She's a blonde bimbo. So Fox News invites her on and she gets to tell people about the state of MAGA. Of course, it's all great. You know, it's all just fantastic for her in her podcast studio, probably making a lot of money. She's doing great. And she gets the access because of it. Good for her. So it's like that. It's like Pompeo. Meanwhile, I'm getting reached out to from leftists news organizations. I'm getting reached out to by foreign news organizations. They're asking me, they're saying, hey, can you come on the show and give us an update on the state of MAGA? Can you come on the show and give us an update on right-wing politics? And I'm sitting here, I'm saying, how is it that people on the left in America know that I'm a better source of the true state of MAGA than Fox does? How is it that foreign media companies know that I am a better source to find out the true state of MAGA than Fox News does? Explain that to me. Now, of course, maybe the obvious answer is that Fox News isn't interested in the true state of MAGA. Fox News is not interested in telling you the true state of MAGA. Fox News is interested in bringing on Mike Pompeo because it'll get views and he's going to prop up the war in Ukraine. Fox News is interested in a cute blonde bimbo to tell you how great everything is in MAGA because she's cute and it'll prop up the views. They don't actually want the truth. They don't actually want to hear from MAGA. But it's like the same thing. I am one of the most outspoken voices on the right against the Israeli lobby. It's no secret. But you know who actually tries to court me? The Israeli lobby. I get offered the trips to Israel. I get offered the trips to Israel and to go to Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and the beaches and meet the Israeli leaders. I get offered these things. I am staunchly against the Israeli lobby, and yet the Israeli lobby does more to court me and try to win me over than even the Trump administration does, or even right-wing media outlets do. Do you understand how bonkers that is? Do you understand how Twilight Zone that is for me? And of course, I turn them down every time. I have nothing against the people in Israel. I'm sure Israel is I have no doubt Israel is a beautiful nation. I bet it would be a great place to go, but I'm not going to do it. And yet they still make the offers, and yet they still court me. Doesn't matter I say no. Doesn't matter I'm against the Israeli lobby. They still try. They try. So you understand here? I get more effort to be courted by the Israeli lobby that I'm against. I get more respect as a voice of reason from the American left than I get from the American right. I get more respect as a voice of American politics from foreign media outlets than I do from American right-wing media outlets. Do you understand how Twilight Zone that is? Do you understand how bizarro world that is for me? It's like, what is the conclusion that I'm supposed to reach? What is the message here? I don't even know, honestly. The only conclusion I can reach is that right-wing politics, they don't care about winning. It's all about gatekeeping. It's all about control of the narrative, and it's all about keeping the right wing on the exact same path it's been on for 50 frickin' years, which has resulted in disastrous foreign policy, and which has resulted in the American way of life, the way of living, culture, and everything else declining every single election cycle, no matter who gets in. And then when you have people on the right that actually want to change course, and you have people on the right that actually can make sense of it all and reach the average American and resonate with the average American and might be able to change the narrative and change the course and get the general consciousness on the right wing awakened, they want nothing to do with you. So I don't know what other conclusion I'm supposed to reach. I don't know. But I have to say, it's pretty bonkers. It's pretty bonkers. And I'm to the point now, it's like, last week, I think I did 5 interviews outside of this show. I don't even like doing the interviews outside of this show, quite frankly. I turn down 80, 90% of them. It's just because it's just too much. It's just too much. Every once in a while, I'll decide to do it, like last week, and I'll probably do one this week. I'll make that announcement maybe at the end of the day. But it's just too much. If people want to hear my voice, people want to hear my take, then come watch the Owen Report. And it's like by the time I do 6 interviews in a week plus the show, it's just like total burnout. But it is funny. It is funny. The only time I was ever invited on Fox was by Tucker Carlson. That's it. That's it. Again, I don't care. I don't take politics personally. I'm not crying. But it is kind of an interesting course, isn't it? It is kind of an interesting development. It's like, okay. Been with Trump since 2015, basically suffered the wrath of the deep state. I mean, what? Who's suffered worse than me? There's probably very few names. I'm probably top 5 people who have suffered the most for supporting President Trump. But I don't get anything from the administration, never have. I don't get anything from Fox News or any of their affiliates, never have. But leftist affiliates reach out all the time. Foreign affiliates reach out all the time. Isn't that weird? But hey, I'm sure President Trump, I'm sure when the Democrats win in the midterms and they impeach you again, I'm sure somebody will step up and call them out during the impeachment hearings and be willing to go to jail for you multiple times, be willing to get sued for you multiple times and censored for you and attacked for you and doxxed for you and death threatened for you. I'm sure somebody in this new MAGA camp will be willing to stick their neck out for you like we did, President Trump. I'm sure one of them will. I'm sure. Just like they have done so much in the past. Not. So it's just funny watching what's happened to MAGA. It's actually sad. You know what it's like? And I know I've made the analogy before. It's like, oh, I thought we had a 50-yard gain. We turned out having a 5-yard gain. You know, maybe that doesn't even do it justice. It's like, I thought we just scored an 80-yard touchdown to win the Super Bowl. I thought we scored an 80-yard touchdown to win the Super Bowl, but instead there's a flag on the field and holding has been called, and now we actually have the ball on our own 5-yard line and it's 4th down with 2 seconds left on the clock. It's like, oh, touchdown to win the Super Bowl. Holding. MAGA. Number 47. 4th down from the 5-yard line. Please put 2 seconds on the clock. That's what this is. We went from, oh my gosh, we just scored the Super Bowl winning touchdown to actually it was a holding call. We're on the 5-yard line with 2 seconds left to win the game. And the people that are actually fighting to win the game are not even allowed on the field anymore. All right. Now, this is really going to anger some people here that they probably didn't anticipate. So now the anti-fascists are destroying golf courses. So these are the Antifa, Green New Deal types. These are the Antifa environmentalists. And they're now going to golf courses, and I guess it looks like they're taking like a shovel or something. They're destroying golf courses is what they're doing. You morons. Most of these golf people probably don't get too involved in politics. They don't want to. They just want to live their lives and play golf. They're not even thinking about what you dweebs are up to. It's like, oh, we're going to go after the museums and art. Well, now you've ticked off museum goers. Now you've ticked off the art collective. Oh, we're going to go after golf courses. Oh, now you've ticked off the golfers and the caddies and the pro shops. Stop it. You're not even helping your cause, but whatever. You're retarded anyway. So this is a funny one. We all see these new remakes of these old, I guess, comics or shows, and they replace every white person with a non-white person. Bile Holte, I think I'm saying you right, Bile. I'm sorry if I'm not. Sir Bile Holte. Helpful Hollywood Streaming Life Hack, 2025 edition. Every time some studio announces a sequel, reboot, or remake of a movie to TV series event, do yourself a favor. Ignore the announcement and Google the original from 20 to 40 years ago and hit play on that one instead. Because we've now seen the pattern so many times, it's not even a pattern anymore. It's the entire business model. They call it modernizing for today's audience, but the only thing they're updating is the skin color and gender of every character you actually liked the first time. And so it gives some recent examples here, and then it shows the actual evidence, which you have to admit it's obviously an agenda. Now, what is the real agenda? Is it an anti-white agenda? Is it just bad creative decisions and policies? I don't know. But you can see it's clear that they are taking every popular white character from old comic books or old TV shows or old movies, and they're replacing them with non-white people. Now, I'm not even this isn't really a big issue for me, but this is part of the white erasure agenda. 100%. It's obviously part of the white erasure agenda. But what's more offensive? Is it more offensive to take popular white characters? Because what they really want to do is they want to demonize white people. And if you have a bunch of popular white characters, it's a lot harder. So you want to replace the popular white characters with non-white characters so that there are no white heroes or white idols for them to look up to. There's none. So now you've demonized all white people. There's no white idols. There's no white heroes. Kind of doing it with Trump now, but I guess that's a different story. So that, when they put all their anti-white propaganda and all their anti-white hatred, it'll be ingrained into the youth that, that's a good thing. See, there are no white heroes. There are no white idols. So they're erasing them all from pop culture. Now, okay, maybe that's a big issue that you want to take up. Maybe it's not. But they're also destroying the quality of these movies. All right. I hate to admit this, but I have to. I have to be honest with you folks. Okay. So The Little Mermaid, right? Let's go to The Little Mermaid right here, down here at the bottom. The original Little Mermaid, the Disney classic, a fantastic movie. Nobody can deny it. Adults love it. Kids love it. It's just one of those Disney classics. The Little Mermaid. What a great movie. What a fantastic movie, The Little Mermaid. For all ages. And so what do? They come in and they replace the Little Mermaid. A nice white girl. A nice white girl. They replace her with a nice black girl. Haley Bailey. Now, I think Haley gets a lot of unfair treatment. And they call her ugly and stuff. And I'm like, I don't really see that, but okay. I hate to admit this, folks, but I went in this weekend. I tried to watch the new Little Mermaid. I was actually stunned at how bad it was. I didn't think it could be that bad. I thought, well, I'll watch it and, it won't be as good as the original, but it's not going to be like a tank job, right? It's not going to be like, oh my gosh. Folks, honestly, it might be, depending on where you land on this, it might be more offensive how they're actually destroying the quality of these movies and the quality of these stories. If you'd never seen The Little Mermaid, which everybody liked, and you only saw the new Little Mermaid, you'd think it was the worst movie. I mean, look, as if you've never seen it, first of all, don't waste your time. But if you've never seen it and you've seen and heard all the hype about how bad it was, folks, it doesn't even do it justice. It blew my mind how bad the new Little Mermaid was. I mean, terrible. And it's like you're watching this and you're wondering, how could you make a movie that bad? It is that bad. I think it's more offensive than the anti-white bigotry in Hollywood. I think it's more offensive. The low quality movies they're putting out than it is for them to erase all the white characters. Why? Why are you guys putting out such crap movies? I'm telling you, folks, The Little Mermaid, it's worse than you've heard. And you've heard bad. It's worse than you've heard. All right. We'll leave with some good news. Let's get an update from Scott Adams, who is sounding a lot better, by the way. Scott Adams with an update on his cancer treatment.
Here's a little personal interest story. So I'm sitting at home, and I'm in my nice, comfy, lazy boy chair, and I've got my phone, and I'm watching the news, and I'm watching a video that was just happened, really. It was right after the Zoran meeting in the Oval Office. And so I'm listening to Trump. He's talking on my phone. Trump, 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 Trump. Then my phone rings. I'm like, oh, damn it. And it's West Palm Beach. Yes, the president called me while I was watching the president on TV. So Trump called just to make sure I was doing okay and I was getting the help I needed for my medical situation. He followed up. My God. He called twice. Yeah, I missed that and called back. But I will never get used to that. You cannot get used. There's no way your brain can actually process it, that you're sitting at home, you're literally watching the most powerful, in my opinion, and successful president in the history of all humankind. The most important person, you could argue, out of about 7 billion of us. And his little face and his words are on this phone that's like in my hand. And then the real one calls me. The real one calls me while I'm sitting there. I'm trying to make this into a more interesting story, but it doesn't really need any extra details, does it? Just the fact that it happened at all is just mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. And then I hang up the phone, and Dr. Oz calls me, also because I'm sure also because Trump originally got him involved, also to check to see how I was doing. And thanks to Dr. Oz, my healthcare company, Kaiser, is definitely stepping up, and they're definitely giving me a high quality product. Now, I don't know that it's any higher than anybody else's. I know some of you are going to say, Scott, you're using your fame and connections. to get extra health care that the rest of us don't get. I don't think that's happening. I'm not aware of any special things outside of the boundaries of my health care that I'm getting, but I'm definitely getting a good version of it. Here's a little personal interest story.
Great news. And Scott Adams looks to be doing a lot better. Good for him. But unfortunately, Scott, it's actually your story is proof that yes, you are getting special treatment, which I'm not against, by the way. I'm not against that. I believe in the social credit score, not a digital social credit score, not a social credit score based off of data or interpretation of data. I mean a real social credit system where when you're a good person and you help people and you have an actual track record in your community, your social circle, whatever, that when you're down, people want to help you up. That's the real social credit score, the real world social credit score between humans, human intelligence. When you're a good person and when you've positively affected people like Scott Adams has, when you're down, those people will come help you up. I have no problem with that. And I think that this story is proof, Scott, that yes, you are getting special treatment. And I don't think you should hide from that. I don't think you should be embarrassed from that. You should be proud that you're a good person. And I'd say you deserve that. But this is why it gets a little tricky, because when you admit that, you admit that the health insurance scam is keeping people down. And you admit that it does decide the winners and losers. And that it, unfortunately, even for somebody like Scott Adams, it takes somebody powerful to pull some strings for you to get that treatment. So I understand where Scott is coming from, because it should be everybody should get access to this treatment. It shouldn't be just because Scott Adams has some fortune and fame where he can get some help from the president of the United States. It shouldn't be that way. Everybody should get high treatment. Everybody should get the best chance to live. But because of the corruption in the insurance and the medical industries, it's not the case. So Scott, don't run from that. You should own that. You've earned that. You've earned that. But now you should take it upon yourself to say everybody deserves this treatment. It shouldn't just be me. Everybody deserves this. But Scott, your story proves it. You weren't getting that treatment until somebody else made sure that you were. There are a lot of other people that aren't getting that treatment because nobody else will make sure that they are. So it's okay, Scott. You should be proud of that. You're a good person. You deserved it. But this isn't the time to say, oh, I don't know if it's just me. Now's the time to say, hey, I am getting special treatment, but I shouldn't be. Everybody should get access to that, but they're not. They're not. Because the insurance companies and the medical institutions are a big scam, folks. They're a big scam. All right, we're about to sign off. Let me do some housekeeping before I do. Folks, I eventually am going to have to get this storefront, owenschroyer.store. There's a lot of stuff on there right now. I'm going to be cleaning it up. So not everything that's on there right now is going to be available much longer, just FYI. And then we're probably going to have a whole new storefront starting next year. But just FYI, I'm probably going to be removing some of those products soon. And then maybe an entire new storefront in December. So if there's anything you like there, I would say probably get it sooner than later. Oh, and then I never do this. And that's because I'm not usually, a streamer or an influencer. But hey, folks, remember, follow us on YouTube, the Owen Report on YouTube. Follow us on Rumble, rumble.com/Owen. And we've come to find out there are a lot of people that just like to listen to the show. And so you can find the audio option available, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Spotify, the Owen Report on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. If you just want to listen to the audio archive, it is available pretty much immediately after the show. There's a little bit of a delay there because we have to get it archived and uploaded, but pretty much immediately after the show. So if you just want to listen to the show without the interruptions and are on your phone without having to have the screen up, the Owen Report is available, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify if you just want to listen. All right, there we have it. There it is. Today's Owen Report is in the books. We had a lot of Never Doubt Me's, didn't we? A lot of Never Doubt Me today. A lot of Babe Ruth's called shots coming through today on the Owen Report. A lot of Not Doubt Me's. But you know what? We'll see what happens tomorrow, huh? We'll do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. 21-hour break. I will be live tomorrow doing a guest interview. And if that is live, I'll share it. If it's archived, I'll share that as well. That'll be sometime in the early afternoon, but I don't know if that's going to be live or recorded. I think it's going to be recorded to air tomorrow night. I'll give you an update on that. What do you know? A foreign news outlet asking me for an update on the state of MAGA and right-wing conservatism. Isn't that funny? Right-wing news outlets aren't interested in that, but foreign news operations are. Seems like they get what's going on even better than our own conservative media does. That's ironic. God bless, Godspeed. I'll see you tomorrow.